It is time.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time. It's time.
It is time.
It's the Money Show.
The Money Show.
The Money Show. The Money Show.
The Money Show.
Makodem Mandibo. Let the conversation begin.
Iwandiama Ekenevonu. Welcome to the Money Show. Makodem Mandibo. Afambo Chuka. Anya potasia. Kaime kaisieme. Nankata ndibo. Maka ọganiru. Maka nkwado. Maka ịdị n'otu. Maka idozi obodo. So Nkata today are very interesting. This is the 30th episode of the Money Show. I sky Banyakenefa again. I am here before. But I am married in this way. I am married in this manner. I probably just call my tech and Igbo na tech and you say develop tech na Igbo. But when you look at what's going on, Nobodanya, go see for now. In of me for now, I needed to change if I may go shake yes the waters a little bit. Balok I guess we me go we guy line off ma because na okwa dayaligo. Okwa banyego na So people are getting uncomfortable. People are now the need is there to go out of your comfort zones. And in Kebezokubu now, the more you know, the more you can do. And the more you can do, the more options you have. And the more options you have, the higher chances you can survive. And the higher chances you can survive, then maybe you can thrive despite what's going on. So I was better than Kata today and look at it from a very objective and constructive approach so we can get something. I was chalk I guess somebody you know, because I know a lot of people Ndibo naturally naturally ego na so anyo so aro ego na amasị anyị yotago aro anyị chọrọ ego ma ọ bụ ndị na-ekwu okwu so ọ na-agba ifokwa n'ala nke ọbụla ga-enye anyị ego ọ na-afịa anyị adị gbabara ya kama na ife melo bụ na ọ dị ka safe na enwelu gap of knowledge, you know, the knowledge adịbe spread enough people amabe ka ife si aga ịmago nke ga-abalofa and nke na-ada abalofa so ọ mezie ifozi ndị gbara etinye aka na different kinds of things. I say okay, maybe it's time to have more conversations about this and see how we can help maka na hardship akali for some people. And for some people, I'm mad if I get mad or one day about buffalo. One day we can do a can get Casey or Dogu na Canada.
One name madu kekwano keke me. Nandi banyana make no dalu no onyobuna. Imana mbobna I work on like this. But that I not banese bunkata. You know, one or two things see. On your banana pick it up at the end of it. We now apply one our daily life. Kaimara for one or two improvements here and there. But Eziokubuna na times they had. I go all the nobodo. And all the no important. Kaimara no one or two ways mother wiki G you know G wete good no do you know to supplement whatever you're already doing. And nandi by nasina onye juradi fuzo iwata so kai ju ajuju kai maro no mo when no other means of supplementing the income or whatever livelihood I kita. I think it will be very, very important for any of us because we can always count on these things to help improve our life. So oya just kai just no kai bankata kai maro no mo when opportunities the here and there. You know, we key if we know. And so today will be really interesting because all the know very, very vast in the field, and I think there's a lot we can learn from her. So without further ado, kaina gani oh.
All right, that one then okay. Priscilla, service culture evangelist. Wonder why? There we Potago.
They were my brother. Apotagum Anomga came where and bidro this space. Good evening, everyone. In an
very well. Yes, sir.
Of fantabulous. They were my co-host Casey. Chuka, welcome. It's always good to have you both here. For the purpose of everyone here, but Mandina Suibo, Mandina Hawatibo, don't worry, we'll be mixing and joining it. So that understanding Ghanaian and Nelly, yes, understanding. And to our guests also, Naburondibo, Manahana, like he, Hachorinota, the, will I say, wisdom that is about to be dropped here today. You are all welcome. And as usual, there are rules, and Chuka is going to tell us soon. But please, 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 you can engage in the comment section as well. If you want to add your own cup of tea and you don't want to come up to the speaker section, please, please, please drop your comments so that we can all read it. And if there's time or opportunity, I will read it out to the main house. Again, Afango Priscilla Amadi, your service culture evangelist, and we're here to talk about something very, very interesting. Oh, when he case in Achuka, that is very good. And Utaigeja Buru. Yota.
Yes, sir.
Utaigeja Baron Uru. So that I'm Buru. I am Bazi our region Uru. Always Yoku.
Asị na onwe ndị nọ na space a na-ada asụ Igbo ha da anụkwana Igbo ha na-anyụ anyị asị bikonu ka anyị sụọ na English tata because onwe ndị chọrọ pick one or two things nugget so
yes afugo yeah. How do you go as in I'm afọ here. Okay, the thing is for the fact na nọ na space ndị Igbo anyị ga-eme sikwa Igbo, you understand? They'll have to bear with us because we'll speak English. Normally, ndị Igbo anya na-asụ Igbo straight. I na-miss here with English. In fact, ị ga na East na English Igbo ka na-asụ na ị ga-ahụ nwatakịrị na-asụ jasa dị na-asụ jasa gị na-eme here. Their switch is very smooth. Yeah. You understand? So normally I na asụ Igbo direct like ndị asụsụ ọzọ ha asụ hanga ga no one single English. And I didn't like that normally. We would always speak English somehow. So to those that are joining us, please bear with us. Some people might mix it up with Igbo, some people might mix it up with English, but if you calm down and listen, you will get the gist at the end of the day. But we'll try as much as possible to make sure that everybody or most people get it, but you are welcome here. You are always welcome, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of where you are, your tribe, you're welcome.
Yeah, and for a lot of people who are new, again, and I'll say this in English, the MONI show is an acronym for Maka Odimandibo. It simply means that we are here gathered to have conversations and talk about strategies and ideas that would develop and bring success to our people. It doesn't mean that we are alienating every other person. It just means that we care about the forwardness of our people, pushing that good news, changing narratives, and that's all we're doing. Now, if you have interest in the Igbo people, if you care about the Igbo people, if you care about everything that concerns the Igbo people, you're related to Igbo people either by blood or by association, this is also a conversation for you. The good thing or by friendship. So at the end of the day, this is generally for everybody, as long as you have that that mindset that you want to see other people who are of the Igbo tribe succeed and things like that. Chuka will come in and speak a lot more about who we are, what our program is ideally for, and we do this every Saturday. We've gone from topics from finance to IT to security. We've talked about so many different things.
Everything.
At the end of the day, all we're looking for is the betterment of our people, and I think that's a welcome development from all ramifications. So
just before Chuka joins in, we also encourage that while if you're on the speaker session, please, we always request for respect for other people's views, respect for the platform, be cordial, right? Comport yourself, and when you're talking, be much more, will I say, coordinated. Ensure that what you are speaking to is you are speaking directly to the topic for today. And for those that may have missed it, maybe because of they are busy or they are driving, the topic for today is developing IT support skills for job opportunities. Again, developing IT support skills for job opportunities. We do have a guest here who will be answering questions and giving us, the gist, because, I have a feeling that it's someone here, but let me leave that for Chuka. Chuka is about to drop. The birthday boy is about to come do his thing. So Chuka.
Thank you everyone for joining this conversation. You're all welcome to the MONI show. Makaodim Mandibo. And if you're here for the first time, okay, this is what we do, and it's all about progress. Like my co-host said, I chaw in a conversation from Ndibo all over the world. where we just look at issues, all the issues that bother us, and look at how we can rub minds, share ideas, find ways I get you where do this and there. I will waking with that need by nature. Because once people commit to something and come together, put their efforts together, nothing is impossible. And that's what this is about. Bringing people together in a conversation, finding solutions, and then looking at ways to implement as a collective. So one of the things I need to promote on this platform is Igbobuike, the power of the collective. Because when people do things together, that's when real result, real impact is visibly experienced, not just audio impact, real impact. I know if I not here. So this conversation is constructive, it's civil, and it's objective. I had a corner here, I had a here, but I not true. I wouldn't live for and we have a set of ground rules that we observe when we gather here. When you grab the mic, keep it on mute. When you are to speak, go straight to the point. Don't try to give us all those unnecessary protocols. Third, don't distract us. Stick to the conversation. In a topic I need to discuss, just about that thing. The fourth one is respect yourself, respect the audience, respect the guests, respect the co-hosts and the hosts. The last one, but avoid any noisy environment so that we don't get interrupted when you're speaking. Ọ bụ na ịma asụ Igbo, ịswa. Ọ bụ na ịmarakwa na asụ Igbo, ịchọ ịsụ Igbo, ịswa, sụgbadịrọ. Nke ọ bụla kwalụ ga-eme. Ọ bụkwa na ị na-like ịgwọ ya agwọ ka abacha, ịsụtụ Igbo, nke anyị na-akpọ Engili Igbo. Go ahead and do that. It still works. Nke ọ bụla ịchọ ime, it works for us. The most important thing is, why communication is about understanding and making sure the other person on the other end understands you. If I tell him tonight, and it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation. I got it robust, I got it productive, I got it practical. So feel free to come in and ask questions when we ask you to come in and ask questions. And please don't try to show us if I need it. Just follow us. Kind of go in the same direction. Let's maximize the opportunity that we have tonight with our special guest. So ka gaa n'iru debe anyị si na ọmụ onye nwere ka o ji n'aka onye a na-ekwu maka enwere ife ọ na-eme. With us tonight, joining us tonight on the MONI show is a daughter of the soil, also known as Adan Soka, a DevOps engineer, customer support analyst, product manager, and renowned IT support trainer. She's the founder of Digital Witch Community, a platform with over 40,000 students, where she helps 70% of them find remote work opportunities. Her work reaches people in Nigeria and beyond, helping them acquire digital skills. She has worked with big companies like Microsoft, and she's part of the Tony Elumelu mentorship program. She's indeed passionate about helping young people grow their skills and succeed in remote work. Let us welcome with joy and with love our own Ekwutosi, Cynthia Okay. Ekwutosi, you're welcome to the MONI show. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Can everyone
Hi.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Keki email.
Good.
Biko no kunaka.
No, the problem is I don't speak Central Igbo and my Sunsuka, so you have the problem.
I would like to hear Nsuka sometimes. On Adimaka, I have variety here. So anytime you want to express yourself in Nsuka, please, by all means.
Okay, because I'll be speaking English and on the other side I'll be speaking Nsuka, so
Okay, so boom, yeah.
Please speak Nsukka. Please speak that Nsukka. I had the various dialects of our Igbo
Yes, sir.
language.
Okay, Nsuka.
Yes, sir.
No problem.
So, Kaigani Rose was if I draw time, I draw 24 minutes past 8. We just have less than 3 hours to do this. So, Kai Banya Banyozibu. Yeah, in your own words, could you throw some more light on what you do right now? I am going to introduce, but if I am delimited compared to what you know about what you do. So please help us get to know, bring us in.
Okay, so basically at the moment I'm a customer success manager and what that means is that I work with customers to understand their needs and ensure that they're achieving success using the products that my company sell to them. Then I'm also a DevOps engineer, like you said, but then I do DevOps on the side because it's very, very tasking. I can't combine it full time with what I do at Digital Witch. And basically, I'm a teacher in Digital Witch. So I'm not just a founder. I'm a teacher at Digital Witch where we teach on-demand skills. Not just currently, we don't just do on-demand skills. We have added some advanced core tech skills like cloud computing, how to become a cloud security engineer, cloud engineer, DevOps, SOC analyst, and so on and so forth, and also project management and business analysis. So this is basically what we do, or what I do at the moment.
Yeah, that's very precise. Ịma na ndị na-ekwu okwu maka esi ekwubi ebubi. I'm just wondering what could have been, because it looks like you have really traversed many sides of many areas in the tech world or in the IT field. I'm actually curious to know. I'm sure everybody here or most people here are also curious as well to know what has inspired you to, take on this journey in the tech sector. Yeah.
The thing is, actually, I studied literature in school. I'm not a science student in school.
Literature.
I just thought, yes.
Wow.
Literature UNN. It's funny, but yeah.
I like how you brought that. Literature bungalow and UNN. So, continue.
Yeah, so I studied literature in UNN, and somehow I lost my dad, and considering the fact that I'm the first child and I have 7 siblings, I was supposed to go back for my master's, but my father died a week after my service, so I have to work. And that brought me to Lagos, where a friend of mine hired me to work in his real estate company as an office assistant. So when I was in that office, I felt like I'm underachieving, like I'm too smart to be here. I wasn't doing a lot. I just come to work, sit in the office. If somebody call for inspection, fine. If nobody calls, I'm just going to sit there from 7 or 8 until 5. And I feel like being in school, I was a smart kid right from when I was a child. So I can't just come and sit like I feel like I needed to do more. So one day I was watching the YouTube. I was watching YouTube in the office, and after I think a clip finished playing, a guy started talking. On YouTube, somebody can, when you are done watching a clip, another clip can just jump in and start playing. So immediately that clip started playing. The person was talking about cloud computing, and I was like, cloud. Like I really do not know. That's my first time encountering the word cloud computing, but something just told me to listen, and I kept listening. And after listening to the guy, I saw myself subscribing to his page. And each time I come to work, or because I don't have a laptop actually, so when I get back home, I use my phone, and I don't even have TV, so nothing keeps me busy, just me and my phone. So when I get back home, I use my phone to watch the guy's YouTube. And maybe after like a month, I started understanding what he was saying, and I keep watching. So somehow I reached out to a friend that was with Jabaman and I told him that I want to change my job. Like, I feel like where I'm currently working, I'm not doing a lot, and I feel like I need to do more for myself. So if there is any company that they are currently hiring, that he should just list me, let me come for an interview. And he told me that they have this company that supports Microsoft that is coming into the country, and they want hiring for them, that I should send my CV. And that was how I sent my CV, and I got to their office the next day. And as if God would have it, they were actually interviewing for cloud, like a customer support, technical support for cloud. And for the last 6 months, I've been watching series of YouTube videos on cloud. So I felt like maybe God, like sometimes God was just preparing me for that moment, because when I got there, the kind of people I saw, computer engineers, like 10 years experience, 20 years, no, old men, old people, managers in the customer support space and all of that. And in my team, I think as again, I was the only person that studied arts which I can even count myself no work experience because the real estate experience to me is nothing. So, well, after series of like 6 or 5 interviews, I was picked. So I still felt maybe it's miracle. So when I finally got into the company, I had to be like, okay, maybe getting into this company is miracle, but staying here, I'm not sure it's going to be miracle. So we have to do something. And what do I have to do? I like me personally, I like being celebrated. I like being at the top of my game. And considering who I was when I joined the company, I wasn't sure I was going to be top of my game as an art student. So I had to see the company as a learning environment for myself. And for the 3 years I spent in the company, all I was just doing is writing certifications, taking courses, changing from one role to another role until I left. So that was how I encountered IT. And immediately I started, I started working in the company. I already know that this is just it for me. I'm not sure I'm going to go back to real estate, go back to any kind of other job. I just feel like, IT is challenging and I love things that challenges me. So, and that was it for me.
Wow. Wow.
Nah, nah, thank
Quite
you
a
very
story.
much, yo. Thank you. Because opening nine one made then noise now number one, play YouTube video. Number two, listen to a guy talking about cloud. Number three, send your resume to a friend. All the noisy church abasa go kainabano. Because it's that easy. But that being said, jokes aside, in I no cloud. When we talk, I know when no conversation, we like to break things down because there are also people who are actually feeling the same way you were feeling the first time you saw that video. Say, what is cloud? What is, a lot of force. Now, can you hear me? Mire nezo, can cable cloud. But so
Exactly. That is exactly how I felt. When
yeah.
I encountered it, I was like, the kind of cloud I know is when wants to. So, we apparently at the moment, or a lot of people, what we do it on what we call on-prem physically. Like you want to store something on your computer, you store it on your physical computer, right? But and previously, maybe in the olden days, people want to store stuff or run their connections, they buy server, and server used to be a very big machine. And as time goes on, if for instance you have central bank, if central bank wants to use like physical machine, it's going to take the whole, let's say, half of their space to buy enough server that can serve all the banks in Nigeria, right? So with the advent of technology, some companies started building what we call data center. Data center is like, let's assume that they are real estate. So real estate take that problem of you having to build your own house, having to do everything you need. All you just need to do is, oh, you like this house and you want to partner with this real estate company. Then you come with just your clothes and you buy a house. So now instead of you buying a server, managing your networking, managing your data, managing your security, managing your backup, managing your storage, everything you need on your own physical space. These companies like Microsoft, AWS, Oracles, and Google, and so many of them are trying, or they have decided to take off that load from you. And they're telling you, okay, we are going to be responsible for everything you need about your physical computers, about your physical servers, and everything. We have our data center. All you just need to do is to come to us, partner with us, create an account, and pay for what you use. So you don't need to start worrying about having like physical machines. So all you just need to do, come to Azure or come to Microsoft, have an account, deploy your machines. If you want your machines to be located in Canada, you want it to be located in the US, you want it to be located in any part of the world, all you just need to do is to buy a machine, virtual machine, not your physical machine. Virtual machine is just like your physical computer. Everything that your computer is doing is what your virtual machine will do. For instance, remember when they locked Nigeria out of Twitter and BX, when this Nigeria stopped accessing X. I think that was like 3 years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but there was a time they blocked us from accessing Twitter. So if you're in Nigeria, using your Nigeria IP address, you cannot access Twitter. But because I have a virtual machine that runs on my physical computer, and my virtual machine is located in the UK. All I just need to do to access Twitter is to log into my virtual machine, and Equitos is in the UK, and I'll be accessing Twitter from my virtual machine in Nigeria. So these are what cloud is all about. And almost all the softwares you use, you'll be hearing things like IaaS, SaaS as a service, that is software as a service, platform as a service, and all of that. So what this means is that most of these softwares or these services are being deployed on the cloud. So cloud just is like a platform, just the same way you have Jumia, you put your products on Jumia to sell. So that is how we have cloud. Cloud allows you to carry your product, your softwares, and deploy it on the cloud so that it will be running, and the company will be providing all the services you need to run your softwares and all of that. So that's just that.
Thank you very much for this. If you only if you know you like it, what the of my, and I like how you kind of break it down to very simple language, very simple, easy to understand terms, so that when you jello secondary school, when you jello university, when you masters, when you jello the secondary school, we care what here, as long as the person is literate. That is what I found very, very interesting. Bikono, we have a custom here. When you join this show, just go to the bottom of your screen. Look at that share button. Click on that share button and look at share via post and just share the space. Let people know that we're having this conversation. You have people following you. Let them know. Share it. Even share it on your DM. And if you can go as far as sharing it on your WhatsApp, let them know. Because I choke as many people as possible get to hear what we're discussing here, so that we can extend information. And only again na charge ego to discuss this kind of things. But she's just talking here for free. I ain't discuss for money at all. So don't be greedy. Just try and help other people to also hear what you're hearing. You know, can we keep more impact in what we're doing, so that when you're and when organiru or metodo just a few, you know, can reduce against Sabuna Street. Yes, sir. All right. I want to try to somehow we can see for this thing, you know. I can see if now so many fields in this tech support, IT support. I guess then we're different between tech support and IT support. Get easier to join. You know,
IT support and tech support, they're all the same, but you know, we have customer service, and we can now say we have customer service, we now have technical support. And
okay,
tech support, tech is technology, IT is information technology, so it's the same thing. So the thing is, there's nothing like it's easy. You know, I don't believe in the word easy, because if you really want to go into something and you are looking for the easy way out, that is the same way everybody's looking for easy way out. At the end of the day, the easy ones, those that know the hard ones, we take the easy ones from you as well. Because if, for instance, I want to apply for just a normal customer service job, and I'm telling the person who is hiring that I also have experience as a technical support person, they will not come out, they will not leave me and hire you, because it's like they are using one stone to kill two birds where me I did. You get? So there is nothing like easy way. The thing is, if you want to go into tech or IT or anything, you need to be ready, you need to prepare yourself. The more knowledge you have, the more bullets you have to fight all the problems, the whole stress of getting jobs. But there are ones that anybody can do, which is the customer service. Anybody can answer questions. Oh, how can I do this? Or you help them out. Or how can I fix this? You help them out. But the technical support one is the one that is highly technical. You need to understand. It's like you're a mechanic. You know, you need to get your hands dirty as a technical support person. It's not just question and answer scenario like, or Equitos, I want to do this, how do I do it? Or Equitos, I cannot, how do I make payments? No, those ones are customer service. But when someone is talking is IT support, it's like you telling me that, oh, I want to join this Twitter space and I'm having issues joining and I'm getting an error. So that error you are getting shows that there's a technical problem. So that is now when the technical support person comes in to troubleshoot the problem and understand what is causing the error. Why is it that you are not able to join? Is it network problem? Is it that your location is blocked from joining Twitter? Is it that your device cannot access this? These are the things that the technical guy does, and I think I can say that this is the hard part of course IT support. But the other ones, which is like first level support, is just question. We call them Q&A, question and answer, and you can even get those answers on the company's help desk or help dot page. Where when you go to companies, you see
Yes.
something like help center. You go there. So as a support person, you can also go there, copy the answer to the question that the customer is asking you, edit it to have your own personal support voice, then you send it across. But it's not the same for technical support. Technical support have to get themselves involved, try to figure the root cause of the problem the customer is experiencing. They also need to go back to their own environment to replicate the issue, test it, and if the problem is happening, if it's something they can solve, they provide solution. If it's not something they can solve, then have to do what they have to find a workaround or a quick fix that the customer can be managing while they take their time to develop a solution.
It sounds like you've
So that's
touched different fields already. It sounds like your logo all are different. Like you're touching so many things at the same time
yeah.
when you're talking, and they are all connected. So, a week even in were like 15 certificates, or I don't know, certifications. I don't know.
I have more than 150 certificates actually.
Can I go
And I
on,
just
madam?
paid for
Let's share
another
the
one
grace.
yesterday. I just paid another one yesterday that is costing me $15. So no certificate. The truth is, once you are in this field, it will get to a
You
point that it's no longer about what you want to do with the certificate. In my own case, I just see a course and I feel like this course could be useful to what I do at the moment, or it may not even be useful to what I do at the moment. But I just take them just for the fun of it, so that when you think you are getting close to where I am, but I'm like 200 miles away, something like that.
so
Yeah. Go ahead, Chukas.
I'm
Go ahead.
from if you it's not 1.5. I'm not 1.5. You could have a 1,500 naira. So I'm assuming that you again we got again a whip up a gigway. Again, you're gonna courses to just train yourself. Got mad of 50,000. Okay, I got mad of
Which type of
200. I got mad of 200 salary easily. You
in
can easily pay
Nigeria,
1 month
because
salary of
this
a
is in
company.
dollars, you
Yeah.
cannot pay. You
No, kuna Nigeria.
cannot
I
pay
can't do
$50. Okay,
I can't
Nigeria.
do
And company that is
Yes.
paying 50K. Company
If
now
no.
50, all the possible.
But yeah, do you think it's been worth it? Like when you look at what you've done so far, you go and it's go, and all that training.
The truth is that there was a time people actually laugh at me that I waste
Of
my
course.
money, because the truth is, like I said, how my life is not straight. I have never been that kid that have everything figured out. I don't have anything figured out in my life, right? From the only thing I know that was figured out, or everybody around me knew, that Equitos would be a great person. But every other thing, how I'm going to be a great person, I don't know. And how when I was in secondary school, I did science, but on the side I was doing, I went to a missionary school. I was doing literature and CRS. So when it was time for me to write jump, somebody that did science, I have my biology, I have my chemistry, I have physics. In fact, my math was 8B2, so I was very good at math. But I just saw myself writing, adding English and literature in my jam. Like, I have always been a confused person. Okay. So when I was taking all these courses, I actually don't know when and
You
how
need
I'm going
them.
to start making money out of the courses. But one thing I know is that, coming from the kind of family I'm coming from, I already know that nobody will save me. I'm the only person that will save myself and save my siblings. And how am I going to save myself and my siblings? I don't know. But when I got into Microsoft, I saw that there's a lot of opportunities. But what will keep me here is when I don't upskill. So I noticed that here it's not even paying me as much, but this is like a stepping stone for me. I got exposed to what IT is all about, but I know that there is more. There's money in this IT, but how can I grab this money? I need to upskill. I had to start learning programming. From programming, I started learning Python, then scripting. Went into this a bit of DevOps. Come out, like, I was doing a lot. I didn't have any mentor, anybody guiding me. I was doing a lot, like anything
Wow.
at all. At some point, the only money I was saving for myself is, in fact, that my rent. Say, how much was my rent? My rent then was like 250. And
Mm.
yes, that's
Huh.
250K. The only way I can afford to save it is because I'm using piggy vest. You know those times that piggy vest will be withdrawing like 1K or 2K from your account. That is the only way I
Yeah.
can save that 250K. Every other
Yeah.
money I get from my work, once I pay my siblings' school fees, then the next one I'm using it to write a certification. I was done on Facebook then and LinkedIn. Like the only post I make on LinkedIn was certification, certification. I support people like Equitos. You don't make hair, you don't buy wig, you don't even I had to cut a friend off because I remember she told me, Equitas, how come all of us earn this amount? Like we know what we work together, we know what everybody's earning. She said, Equitas, this is what everybody earns this amount. How come you don't even buy one good wig? And when she said it to me, because she's close to me, I felt really hot. And why did I feel hot? I feel hot because she she's in Lagos with her parents. Her parents are both working. She's just working and she don't even take care of herself. Like, for instance, she can get her salary to that, decide to use the salary and go and buy one hair, and she will still eat good food, go back to her parents' house, everything. So I just told her one thing. I told her that you are making money to take care of yourself. I'm making money to take care of home. So we are both different. Like we your we even if you don't even need to work and you live comfortable. But if I don't work, my babe, my siblings, they won't go to school
Yeah.
if I don't
Th- th-
work. If I
There's
don't if I
there's
don't
something that
Responsibility.
save this. So
yeah. There's something I wanted to just I like your story first of all. Being a gel with all of these narratives and like how you're narrating the story. To me, I think is exceptional because Chuka, this is a grass to grace story. And it is that
Exactly.
way too because it's when no when you push you there's a motivation behind it, there's a story that's coming along with all of this progression you may make it. So there's actually that will, there's something that pushes you and that has pushed you to the point where you are now. Now wait, there's something you said, and again, oh yeah, man, this is why I like this, because information is important. The information you got changed your life or is changing your life currently. So information is important. And I said before,
yeah.
information is power. Information is more than just power. Information is profit. Because if you can leverage that skill, information anywhere, you can find ways to make it profitable for yourself. And you're an exact story of what that narrative is. Oh, when you said that you have to get ready. You have to be ready. I want you to take us back. I want to talk more about that grass part of it, more than the grace. Can I go to grace? We know because a lot of the people not here, some of them kind of feel like they're still in that grass phase now. So I want to talk more about it. What does getting ready mean? Can I need it ready? Because I know essentially we need the skill set to be acquired, then we need to make profit out of that skill set. We'll get to all of that part, but what do you need to get ready? You see, we need to, like, what does readiness mean?
So like my belief in readiness is, there are some things I tell my students. Some of them be like, if because I have these skills but I don't have a job. And I'll ask you, do you rather wish you don't have these skills and still don't have a job? So if you answer the question honestly, then you will know that your life is always better with skills. So you getting ready is all about packing, not even acquiring skills. That's what I mean when I say packing skills. And I made mention of something. I said the more skills or the more knowledge you have, the more bullets you have out there to, fight. No, I'm not talking about fighting poverty, fighting Nigerian labor market. When you say I don't have a job, the more skills you have, the more bullets you have to fighting your jobless life. So if you are interested in getting yourself ready or equipped, you have to start learning skills. You don't even need to, like, for those that don't have money to start paying for skills. Me personally, like I said, I didn't wait to have a laptop. I didn't even get a laptop until I started working. I didn't wait when I have an iPhone or when I have the best of phone. I started my learning experience with my either Infinix. I think it was an Infinix phone. So I started my learning experience with an Infinix phone, and I started with YouTube. And I didn't even get to know what I want to learn. I just stumbled on cloud computing and I decided to follow that up, and I didn't just stop. actually got my job through cloud computing. But did I stop there? No, I keep learning. Like I said, when you get to when you find yourself in the IT world, that is now when you realize that learning is continuing. You don't get to stop learning, because maybe the software you know about yesterday, before you wake up, it might be updated and upgraded, and you'll be struggling and to understand what is going on. So that is just all of that. So in case you want to start thinking about readiness, just think about equipping yourself with skills.
I want to add to what Casey said now. Let me say it in English. What do you think were the most vital virtues that propelled you on your journey, in this tech field so far? Like in terms of maybe the traits, qualities, or habits, that you had to develop within you or in yourself, or maybe they were already there from the go. What do you think
Like
that you
I'm trying
identified
to
as a
understand the
quality?
question.
Like onye ọbụla na-eme kia nwere onye ọbụla na-eme kia nwere ife
Is it like
nyelụ ya aka.
motivation?
Wikibụ
Yeah,
mindset. Things like that.
mindset, unwikable discipline, unwikable focus, unwikable anger. Sometimes unwikable self to prove a point.
The thing is, okay, let me I don't do anything to prove a point, but I can say that I do some things, maybe anger, and maybe, okay, let's just use the word. I think the right word to use is like motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
What motivated me, or what kept me in what I'm doing. So I would say it's my family. Like I said, I being the first child and seeing my dad die when I was just about I just graduated. I was only graduate. My other siblings in fact, our last born was in nursery school when my dad passed, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So you should imagine the family dynamic. It's not like my father is really rich. She wasn't really rich, but we they manage. The person wake on, they bring you out with the choke on die. That.
So he literally became the father.
That alone is exactly. And because I love my dad so much, I didn't want nobody have to tell me what to do. I love the fact that he sacrificed enough for me. My papa no get money, but there is nothing I want in this life that is within his means that he cannot in fact, he sold his bike to pay my acceptance fee in UNN. That's how bad you get. So my own way of trying to say thank you, trying to say thank you is like me ensuring that my siblings get the same amount or even more of love, support that I got from him. And how am I supposed to do that? That means I have to be it got to a point in this Lagos during rainy season like this. I know sometimes I do like afternoon shift at work, and I'll be coming back around 12 a.m. and my street will be flooded. That kind of flood that will be getting to your laps. And you cannot even say, let me go and be walking on the gutter side, because the gutter is also flooded and you are scared of stepping into the gutter. So, and I'll be coming back around 1 a.m. No bike, even those that have car we park, and I'll be the only one walking on the lonely street where they have all these omonenes. And I had to thank God. I think it was just a simple prayer, but I feel that prayer. So when I think about it, I felt like God listened to that prayer, because that prayer, it was so simple, but it's from the deepest part of my soul. I was working that night. Normally, I'm a very, I used to be very scared. Like, little thing scares me. But what can I do? I have to go to work. So I was coming back midnight, and I got to this part and I was walking down water, and I said, God, I beg, even if you know if you pity me, pity my mother, pity my siblings. This is not the kind of life I want to live in this Lagos. And that was the end of the prayer. But I didn't stop working that day. I just said that prayer maybe I said that prayer in 2019, but I started working remotely this time. In fact, funny thing is, today is 2nd, right? So I got my first full-time remote job 2nd of November 2020. Like, that was the day I started. Like, I got the job on the last day of October, but the 2020, I think either 2nd or 3rd of November was on Monday. So I resumed on Monday, being 2nd of November or something like that. So, wow. And that was it for me. So when it comes to learning experience, like I said, when you have something motivating you, no matter how difficult the road gets, there's this, I think there was a point I had to get, stickers. There's this sticker notes that used to have different colors. That it used to be like portable, like you can stick it on the walls. So there was when I
Yes.
was learning, there was a time I had to buy a bunch of those stickers notes, and I wrote every single thing that happened to me and things that I know will motivate me not to give up. I will write them boldly and I place them in a strategic places in my room that whenever I wake up in the morning, that is the first thing I used to see. So whenever
Hmm.
I'm studying, because even when I get back from work around 2 a.m., I will still need to sit down and code for 1 hour every day. The most I must code for an hour before I go to bed. So when I come back and I don't feel like coding, I'll just look up and I'll see those things I wrote and I'll sit down and start coding. So then when I was also learning, I wasn't focusing so much on jobs. I maybe because I have the Microsoft job, but even though it wasn't paying that much, but I wasn't focusing so much on the job. I was focusing so much on n- gathering a lot of skills. Even though then I didn't know maybe how am I going to get jobs, or like I said, I didn't have anybody guiding me. The kind of courses I was taking are not this type of course that I have somebody directly talking to me. Most of them are just normal virtual classes. I watch videos and I try to replicate whatever I saw in the video. I don't have like a direct teacher teaching me or somebody I communicate with. So it was tough. So, but I wasn't focusing on the job. I just take my courses, do my stuff, and knew that it's going to get to a point that whatever I'm doing is going to pay, because why won't it pay? And I was doing so much that even God, even the universe, no say go pay. You get.
Abi? Yeah.
So
I want to ask you
yeah,
something though.
yeah.
I want to ask you something. And again, to everybody listening, I want us to understand that at the end of this conversation, we'll get details. So Chota no pen, chota paper. Find your pen and paper, keep it aside. We will write down things. I like to be very detailed. So we'll get the where, when, how, all of that details, we'll have it. So I want us to know that at the end of this, each and every one of us will live with something very, very tangible. So we'll get to that phase of the conversation when we start talking about, okay, what and what do I need to start with? And where and when can I find it? Where and where can I find it? How much is it going to cost? So that way, I'm information. Come on, the serious that want to start, they can start as soon as next week or even as soon as feasible. You want that? So don't worry, we'll get to that phase. But when we enjoy Jugi, okay, there's something I want to ask you, because oftentimes you hear some of the pushbacks and the rebuttals now be enough from people when it comes to IT. And I say, one, IT is so expensive. Two, it's so hard and it's so difficult. Convince me that it's not. Tell me why it's not. It's not expensive, and tell me why it's not difficult. Convince me.
See, the truth is this, like I want to be honest. Expensive is relative. Like I said, I just yesterday I can if I had me this is my laptop, I can share my screen. I just paid for 1,000 words of a course, and that course is just for 4 weeks. It's going to start in December 3rd and it's going to end in December. That is just 4 weeks, and I paid $1,005. And before then, I took a course like it's like a continuation of a course that I paid 2 months ago, and the first one was $2,500, and that one too was like 2 weeks. So when we talk about cost being expensive, it's just your pocket and also your mindset. Like me personally, I've seen the benefits of taking courses that as long as I can afford something, I don't price courses when I want to take a course. As long as I know that I'm going to get value for my money and I know that this is what I need, I pay for it. Then when you say it's expensive, like I said, I started my journey YouTube. YouTube is free. Everybody have access to YouTube. But the problem is, in my own case, why it was so easy, like I said, is that I'm a very determined person. I'm very, very rugged, actually. I'm very rugged. My papa rugged, so in blood somehow strong for my body. So I'm kind of a little bit rugged, and I'm highly determined. If I want to achieve something, nothing. Like if I tell you today now that next year by this time I won't buy mansion, no, just believe me, it's going to happen. Like I don't know how it happened, but I have these strong determinations about things that once I want to set my mind, any single thing that I see as a setback or people see as a setback, I don't see it as a setback. It's kind of fueled my decision to ensure that happens. You get. So now it's it's not expensive depending on where you want to start. You can start very small. Don't look at the big ones. Like some of you have not even counted one, you want to count 10, and you want to go and start learning, let's say, data analysis, and you want the person to teach you data analysis for 10k maka waiting, because the thing that people sometimes don't even understand the efforts people put in training or teaching. Like the truth, me personally, I can teach my class for 4 hours, but when I'm done teaching, it feels, I always tell my people, like it feels like a, when Jesus said power left me, it feels like power
I
left
can
me each time I'm
relate.
done teaching. Like today,
Virtue.
each time I'm done teaching, each time I'm done teaching, it's as if there's this power. I can be talking and feel normal, but immediately I close my mouth, it feels like power left me. So imagine having to deal with people for weeks, months, and you expect the person to charge you 10k. Like one, and another thing about teaching is that yes, you're teaching, you also learn. You have to learn to keep abreast with your students. So they are not cheap. So you need to start small. You need to start, either you are starting with a
When
free
you
class
when you
and you don't
when you
expect to
say
get.
small, when you say start small,
Mm.
which areas
Start small,
ever
small
give you the one with
courses.
small now?
Like
Like
okay, for instance, now let me use myself as example. My training is very cheap. For instance, I'm the first person in the whole of Nigeria that started this IT support. Anybody you see talking about any skill at all that I'm teaching, is either the person have been my student at some point, or the person have heard about what we do and just decided to copy the headline. Because when I give my training IT support, I didn't give it that name because I've seen anybody teaching something like that. I gave that name because of the role I was working at Microsoft. My role is IT, so technical support. You understand? And when I wanted to create my content, nothing else came to my head, and I just said, okay. Me and my friend was having a conversation. I said, babe, make I just call on my IT support. But inside the IT support, we will do so many things. Do you understand? But we have to just, so that is just how the name came about. Now, when I started the training, in 2019 I actually did the training for free. I still have the group, the first set of group, but nobody took me seriously. Like it was as if I was literally begging these people to do what I want them to do. Then I was also taking courses on Coursera. So I decided to, sometimes I will come, okay, let's apply for financial aid on Coursera. Let me show you guys how to do this. We are like 30, but it's just like two persons that is coming, and I had to dump it. Now, when I started training, my focus was people like me, those like struggling like me, no income earners, job seekers, students, stay at home mom. So this set of people, they don't have money. Or even if they have money, most of them will not, they'll come and tell you sub stories to make you feel pity for them. Like they don't have money. I said, okay, fine. So, and that made me make my training to be very, very affordable, because my target audience are people that I'm assuming they don't have money. But at the end of the training, you are learning so much. Like I'm not for those that started with me in 2021, their class was just like 4 sections. At the end of the first section, they graduated. But as I speak with you, my class is almost, the last people had 19 sections. There are some that have 20 sections before they graduate. So you can see the difference from 4 to almost 20 sections. And you still have other random classes, general classes here and there, with all the kind of support you get for the same amount. And when you are done, you should be able to get a job. Then, if we now talk about the advanced, like cloud computing is something that me personally, I even got a scholarship for one of my class DevOps training, and that scholarship is worth $7,000. Now, there is no single person that teaches DevOps that will teach you DevOps for less than 500. That is for the people teaching it locally, less than 500. Abroad, people charge from 2,000, 3,000 above for 3 months. But here, like I said, I understand my market. My targets are no income earners, and if I put this price way high, I understand these people cannot afford it. So I'm trying so hard to make sure that all the things I do, or all the things that I bring them home, so we make it very affordable. But I still direct you that if you feel you cannot afford to pay for skills, it's okay. Just start their cheap, their free platform. Like you want to learn coding, we have free code camp, we have W3 schools and
Okay.
others. Then we have YouTube. You can use YouTube to learn anything.
Every
I know what you're about to say. I was just gonna get people ready, kind of idea, so that because again, what we're trying to do is you have so much information you're trying to pass across. We want to make sure people have the opportunity to capture all of that, right? And then at the end of the day,
Okay.
you're running a business too, right? So we want to make sure that as much as possible, the people who will support your business. But one day, and when they the people who can afford it, we also want to make sure that some self-serve options today for some of those people, which you're obviously about to mention. And then you talked about, oh, I got a scholarship to do this and this. I also want to know, are there scholarship opportunities too? How can people, assess some of those opportunities? So that way we make sure that we're diversifying the options that are available to all of the people listening. So I know you're about to get into that realm now. I bet, we have to start mentioning and writing things. So everybody, if you're here, the moment has come. Get your pen, get your paper ready. So please go ahead.
So I was about talking about this struggle. Like people say something hard, and so I'm trying to say that the truth is when you really want to learn something, everything is hard actually. Especially this our current learning system, like learning online, when you don't get to see this person physically or see this person shouting at you to do your assignment. But when you are a principled person and you determine to achieve success, I'm not sure there's anybody like, you need to take ownership. There's something I tell students. You don't learn because you are doing Equitas a favor. You need to learn because this is like your last resort to achieving success. So you need to take it personal. It is a personal experience. So it's going to be hard. I don't like telling people that learning is easy. It's not easy. But being poor is harder.
Absolutely.
Do you get?
Wham.
So you have to choose you have to choose the price. Do you want to learn and suffer and learn? Or do you want to remain poor? See, baby, still your president.
Simple. I would say only sometimes. I believe in the University of YouTube. That's what I call it, the University of YouTube, because there's no school bigger than YouTube. Almost anything can be learned there. So I really believe in it, and I've learned a lot from YouTube. But I hear people sometimes for certain professions in tech, people are saying, YouTube, yes, JJ Gent, they follow, watch all kinds of videos, hundreds of videos, but now you need a trainer. That you cannot learn everything on YouTube. That it gets to a point where you still need a coach to put you through. So, at what point does one get to that they just can't move further without finding a coach? And how does one navigate that? If you get made to move from that YouTube stage to the trainer.
The thing is this. Me personally, I would never advise anybody that have the money to use YouTube as their starting point. YouTube is like added advantage. For instance, my students also use YouTube, but I'm the one telling them to check this on YouTube. So it means that I'm teaching you this, but because I want you to have access to more resources, check YouTube. That means somebody is pointing you to what you check. But YouTube, if you just want to learn on YouTube, you are just going to be learning so many things, but not making sense. Like you learn this one. The only thing that, in my own case, that was a little bit different is I would say that, like I said, it's as if God was preparing me for a moment. So I can't naked like that one. That's just it, because I didn't deviate from cloud to go and do any other thing. And Nigeria, we have one mindset. We are not disciplined to take on a course and finish it, especially when you are not duly informed. Most of you are taking a course, like some of you now, when they hear DevOps, they want to go into DevOps because Equitas is into DevOps and probably she's making money from DevOps. The next morning, Equitas says, her friend in data analysis just got this job that is paying $7,000. They say, wow. So data analyst can pay up to $7,000. And me that is very good at mathematics. Then you leave your DevOps, you want to do data analysis. Then before you know it, I will not say, the easiest of them all is now sales. And you will make commission. And you say, me that have done sales for bank, and they will pay me 25K, 50K. Now in this person, they make $1,000 as commission. So you keep jumping. At the end of the day, you'll be jack of all skills and master of none. And that is what YouTube can cause you as well. But when you are learning under somebody, like my siblings, all my siblings, not all my siblings, some of my siblings are interested in tech, but I registered them. There's one that had to go to Aptech, Aptech. Like I had to pay like
Yeah.
almost 2 point something million naira for the person to go to Aptech. Why? I could have easily told him use YouTube. But I told him go to Aptech. As you're learning on Aptech, when they give you assignments, you can use YouTube to augment what that person is teaching you. And that helps a lot. So materials are online not to take a place of the normal learning platforms. It's just there to help you support your learning. If not, people not supposed to go university. All the things where in fact, YouTube will even teach you more current things that what they teach in the university. So maybe all of us will just stop going to the university and focus on learning on YouTube. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the resources we have at our disposal are there to make our learning experience easier, not to take away the place of having to communicate. Like I tell people, being in my community is not even about what I teach you. It's about the people in the community, the kind of support you get from these people when you need help, when you are learning something and you are not getting expected results. If you have somebody to collaborate with, and the person will bring their own ideas, their own strengths, and you see that this thing where they suffer away just like is blocking your head. It's not that difficult, but just maybe you're not approaching it in the right way. And this person, so it's just like having a platform where you learn makes the experience fun. That's just it. But like I said, instead of you not learning at all because you don't get money, start where you're not supposed to spend money. That is just the idea of YouTube for me.
Yeah, wow. I'm just wondering how this applies to Ndibo, because this conversation with Makandibo first,
Is everything
and
everything
yeah,
Igbo. Everything I put here is applicable to everybody in Igbo.
yeah.
So
Ali Igbo generally. What is your assessment? What is your assessment
I think
generally? Where do
generally,
you th- where do you think
the
we have?
thing is,
Where do you think we are when it comes to Ifa and Wandeku now? Imago,
the,
how are we doing in this game generally? Because the awareness is growing.
I think
The
Igbo
awareness is
people,
spreading everywhere.
as an individual, Igbo, they are
Yes.
trying, but you can't compare them to others. For instance, you can't compare Igbo to like Yorubas when it comes to IT. They take it personally. But Igbo people, I think Igbo people like quick money faster. They like IT doesn't give quick money like fast kind of money. It takes
Ezioku.
time, but when you finish unless you are lucky. So like some of my students before they graduate they get job. I'm just trying to say that Igbo people like business that we give like. But IT money, I was asking somebody, sometimes I see some guys and we have conversation. I'll tell the person, this Yahoo way they do like this. Let me use my, me, right? No, okay, you come around. So let's be realistic. You think you make more money than me? And the guy will be, I said, let's just be realistic. Maybe this month now if you pick like 5K, but for me that have job that is paying me monthly, do you really think you make more money than me? And when we have this conversation, most of them end up joining my class and they are doing well because somebody that press laptop, some of them are very good at software, so they just need you to tell them the right softwares and they'll be able to get the good jobs. So now I feel Igbo people are more into real-time business, and I think they are not even enough support. Like in Lagos here now, you see a lot of people organizing like tech feasts, see the government supporting them. But I'm yet to hear any government supporting any tech event in the East. In fact, even Enugu State is the government or whatever. There's a man that is doing exactly what you're doing on Facebook. He invited me one time and invited one Enugu house of something. Like an Enugu is a politician that I think is for youth. I can't remember his position, but at the end of the event, they asked me to send them a proposal that they have been meaning to train 40,000 or so of Enugu youth. Until today, nothing has. Nobody. I sent the proposal. Nobody have said anything about it. But I felt if it was supposed to be like in Lagos here, and I'm a Yoruba person, and I did something like that, before you know it, a lot of people, we buy into the idea, supporting people, supporting their youth. That's why Lagos is like the center of tech. But Igbos, they can actually do better too. The youths need, everybody that should be able to have a good phone. Everybody don't have to go into business. Boys are
What
there
do you
about to
think?
boy like before, or like before.
How do you think we can shift this
Eh?
thing? Because for me, here now, when mind
By
shift that needs
the
to
way
happen.
the way you can the way you need to shift it is by, first of all, some of us are, I have a lot of students who are from the east and they are doing well in the east, but these are just individuals. They can't go to the street and talk about it. Do you get? They can't go to the street to sensitize the people about, oh, this is now how. In fact, some of my students they are here, they can attest to the fact that some people or their compound people, neighbors, thinks that they are Yahoo because then they come out. They just carry their laptop, do their job.
They're
Yes,
based in the
they'll
southeast.
think that they are Yahoo. They're, what do you say?
The people you're talking about, they are based in Alibo, right? Some of
Yes, they're
them.
based in Anibo. Some of them are in Enugu. Some are in Onoka. Some are in Imo. Like they work remotely now. They work with
Yes.
companies abroad, so you can stay anywhere and work.
Yes.
So these people they don't but you, let's say you that can get youth involved, it can also start from you sponsoring them. More like, okay, I have these youths in my own village. They are 10, they are 20. You can create a platform. That's okay, let me sponsor them in these skills. And as you are sponsoring these skills, you are making it in such a way that they are creating awareness. Let people around them see what they are learning. And as those people are seeing what they are learning, they are able to also trace their success story. Like me, one of the things that made my learning experience stand out is that people actually knew me when I was nobody. Like everybody on my old Facebook accounts, LinkedIn, they know me. Like, and when I say know me, they know me when I was like a student in UNN, when I went for my service, when I came to Lagos, even when I go to work any morning. By 5 I was already in VI. Imagine going to work as early as 5. Like I'll go to get to work every morning by 5:30, 5, and I'll just go on Facebook, like say, see you, you are still sleeping, I'm already in the office, things like that. Like I was just catching crew. So people actually knew me. So it was so easy for people to relate with my success stories, or to relate with all the
You
things
kind
I
of carry them
do because they
along
know the
as
process.
your journey. You carry them with your
Exactly.
journey. Wow.
Exactly. Exactly. But even when I was doing that, I didn't know
What
this.
was coming?
I didn't know about anything digital, which or anything exactly. It's just me doing my thing, having fun. You get. But I feel if there's a way it start from a smaller number of people, but you give them a tax. That tax is carrying the people around them along. Let them see what they are doing, how they are being able to benefit from these things. Oh, you are, because sometimes you carry your laptop and I take your Yahoo, but you're not Yahoo, you are working in real time with a company, and this company is paying you at least $1,000. Anybody, any $1,000 in Nigeria today, or more, you
Oh,
reach.
no,
Like
ma.
I keep telling my students, like $1,000. How many companies pays you that? But $1,000 is like my students when they earn 1,000, some of them that earn 1,000, they still feel like, oh more, this is nothing. Because one thing about tech money is that when you test tech money, you realize that there are more where this money is coming from, and you can pack more. That is the truth.
Hmm.
That is one thing about tech. Once you
Is this
start working in tech field, you just realize. What do you say?
is
I
this
wanted
really
to
for
ask something.
everybody? Is this really for everybody? Is it really for everyone with basic education?
Is
With basic education, what
if
is the minimum
my for
entry
like
requirements?
there's not minimum when it comes to tech actually, because like I said, it's all about your mindset. I studied If I tell you how many lecturers I've trained in my community, I've trained a lot of lecturers. I've trained lecturers that teaches computer science in university as well. I get sometimes I get to see them come to my desk. I say, Peters, I'm a lecturer in this place, so and I teach computer, but I don't teach it the way you teach. How do you get?
Yeah.
Like there is no levels to these things. As
But
long as
for Onya
I've had
Kebidoro
a
yet.
boy.
Wow.
I have a boy. I've had a boy, easy boy. You know those people that are going to Igbo system stuff
Yes,
that
yes.
the Oga did not settle, and he joined us. This guy earned $5 per hour now, and he's living normal. He's not doing business. He joined my training through my younger brother, and he earns $5 per hour and 40 hours in a week. which is better. He's not fighting any tussle with his boss who settle me, no settle me. He's making his small money codedly. So and he didn't go to secondary. I think he's according to him stopping JS2 or so. So there is no level
Wow.
that there's no limitation, but the problem is your mindset and your learning experience. There are some people that through they feel they dumb, man, no lie. So those kind of people, no matter how you teach them, it's not like they won't learn, but is a personal effort thing. Like, I like telling myself the truth. If I know that I'm not very good at something, I try to, as much as, not to compare myself with people that are very good at it. Those people they don't even need to attend classes, and they once they watch the video, or they even just scan through whatever the people are saying, they will still understand what the whole training is all about. But me, I may have to watch that video 10 times to understand it. And if that is the case, I'm going to do it. I have had a woman. This woman is currently one of my big earners in the community. She's a married woman. When she joined our community, she doesn't know how to use a laptop at all. In fact, before she joined, she was chatting me on Facebook, asking me, Equitos, how do I do this? She kept asking me questions. At some point, I was so pissed that I now told her, babe, this training is not for you. Don't register. Like, I remember posting her review one time. Like, I told her, please don't register for the training. I don't know how to call her. I don't know how to tell her that she's dumb. But based on, like, I keep for almost 2 days, I've been more than 2 days, I kept answering questions, and the question I was answering was sounding dumb at some point. But I don't know how to tell her that you are dumb. So I just have to tell her, please don't take this class.
Yeah,
That
they
you will
had
not
truth.
learn. Please don't. Then she not told me, Equitos, you are rude. She said it. I posted it on Facebook one time. She told me, Equitos, you are rude. But when she went ahead and joined the class. She doesn't know how to use a laptop, but her husband owns a laptop. So what she did, she's in Oka. She will, reach out to people in Oka, like her fellow students in Oka. And she will reach out to them and say, okay, let's hang out on Sunday. And if you are coming, come with your laptop. She's using style to organize Oka people. Then on Sunday, then all of them will now go to the place with their laptop. She will carry her husband's laptop, and when she gets there, those people will not be helping her how to do stuff on laptop. And that was how she was learning. Her first job was a student that outsourced it to her. She messed it up, but after messing that job up, she now got her own. And when she got her first job, it was sales job. I think she was making like $2 to $3K in a month. Later, she resigned from that one and got one that was paying $7 per hour. And within 6 months, that job that was paying her $7 per hour, she rose to the point that they were paying her, I think, $18 per hour. And when she worked extra time, they pay her $24 per hour.
The
She's still doing
same
the
dumb
job till
person.
now.
The same,
The
yeah.
same
This is
dumb
a
person.
Yeah, she's
testimony.
still doing the job until now.
It's a
Like, a
testimony.
lot of
So this
people
is
know
a
her on Facebook
testimony, though.
actually. I don't want to mention her name.
So she
Yeah,
wasn't
But I
dumb
have a
then.
lot of. It's
yes.
not that it's because she's not dumb. That's what I'm saying. But if you listen, you see the effort she was making. She had to
Yes.
start organizing like her people physically, just to ensure that he's learning. You carry her husband laptop, meet those people. Those people will not be putting her through. But there are some persons that will be like her. They will just stay there. They will not say anything. They will not behave like they just did the class. So in
Yeah.
that case, nothing Equitos can do.
Equitable, do you know what I feel too? I feel like your feedback was kind of a reality check too. Because when we're not, sometimes you have to tell people the hard truth, and it forces them to introspect and think about themselves and what amount of effort they can actually put in. Like, it forces them to push themselves further. When we enjoy, there's something I want to ask you though.
Yeah.
There's something I want to ask you, because I see two phases of this. You hear now for two phases. The phase one, but people who are just like you, Ndibo, they'll put in effort. They are motivated by their life experiences, the things they've been through, and they just want to excel and succeed by any means. So they push themselves. Sometimes it's almost self-made. They don't really need a lot of mentorship. If they do, or just little. Oh my, some of those people are here listening. They
Yeah.
just point me in the right direction. I can figure it out myself. We'll get to those people. But I also want to talk about the people that need their hand held right? The people that need the mentorship, people who are in your program. Can you walk us through what your program feels like? In Abanye, what do you expect at this phase? What do you expect to know? Do we help you get a job? Because like, what is the phase of your
Now,
student experience? What
okay.
does it look like?
So
Just
so
walk us through.
so this is okay. My own student experience. So this is how my training works. Like I just started a new section today, and the first step is you joining the training. And joining the training, we have like the main training, which is on Zoom, live Zoom. So we teach you like 2 to 3 to like almost 4 hours on Zoom. The class is recorded, and everybody gets the recorded videos when it's ready for you to, whether you are live, whether you are not live during the session, because of course our time zone cannot capture everybody. We have students in Canada, US, and all that, and their time zone is totally different from ours. So now everybody get recorded video. You watch your recorded video. Then the group, we have like a main group. Then we have like a smaller group. The smaller group is, we call it accountability group. That accountability group, we now have we have like dedicated admins that works with me in the accountability group, and we organize tutorials, meaning that when I'm done teaching the main class, we also organize extra support tutorials. So this tutorial, during the tutorial section, all the questions that you have or anything at all, maybe it's like a closer lit family, smaller group. Then you ask all your questions. We provide support. Then,
Anyway,
apart from the whole learning experience,
sorry to cut you off. Anyway, you said 2 to 3 hours.
yeah, I'm
What
listening.
exactly do you teach? Can you what do they learn in that period of time?
Like the whole entire training, like since I teach the entire training, so in the community, based on my, like I said, we have different courses. We have the IT support, then that is the one I take personally. Then the IT support is comprises of, we have customer support, technical support, uh virtual assistants, tech sales, appointment setting, telemarketing, telehealth, A&B and short-term rentals, then scheduling, crediting, then CRMs and other project management tools, and every other thing workspace, anything workspace. Then we also, teach you or train you on how to go about finding jobs, where to find job, how to create your post, your profiles. Then we talk about account executives, that is the tech sales part, email marketing, email management, and so on and so forth. Now, what I like telling people is that I don't give you jobs, I don't guarantee you jobs. I like being very open to that. But that does not mean that I don't share opportunities with my students. Sometimes, like yesterday, somebody got a job with Money Points, and I was the one that shared the opportunity. So I recommend my students for job when I see them, but there is no guarantee.
Hello?
Is it just? Oh, I think we've lost her.
Maybe something came up. I don't know. Her mic is still on.
For me to
and she's still on the speaker panel.
So
Okay.
Recommendation is not part of the deal you are signing with me. Me recommending people is like me going out of my way to ensure that my students are achieving success, because there's no other way for me to measure my success apart from your own or their success. Then we also provide support, like you have an interview and you need help, of course we provide all those kind of support to prep you and to ensure. Then if the person is taking the cloud computing, that one is more aggressive. Like this cloud computing, I have trainers for cloud computing, and those ones are doing amazing jobs. They don't just prepare you for interview. Like if it just remains small thing, and then would attend interview for you. For all the students that have written their cloud certification exam, we have not recorded any failure. Why? Because these teachers, apart from the fact they teach these guys skills, they also prepare them for their cloud computing certification exams. Like they take it upon themselves to prepare these guys, and you are not going to write until you are ready. Like you and them, they will make sure that you are ready. then you go and take your exams. So we provide all this kind of support. Then you also have to be in a community, which is going to be like a lifetime membership until you decide to leave, where you keep getting support. If there's any skill that I feel like, this skill, if I teach them now, it will help us get more jobs. So you are not going to pay for that, actually. Like, it's just like a general section. We have a general section, and everybody gets to learn it. And if I sometimes I like playing around with my my remote platform account. And if I'm playing around something, or I see information somewhere that will benefit us, of course I'm bringing it home. One thing my student can attest to is the fact that I know they hold information, because like I said, if they are not succeeding, it simply means that Equitos is not successful. So if there's anything I have to do to ensure that they are succeeding, I'm going to do that. But the truth is, 100% people cannot succeed, because their success is determined by their own personal efforts. Because if it is my own effort, everybody knows, say, I don't over try. So that's just that.
If Erika, Oku Erika, Priscilla in Nakwea, I don't know if she's still here. Okay.
They go holidays.
Now I understand why they call you digital witch. Yeah, I just think I might be ready to engage her at some point. But while you're preparing Kaina Ganiru, now I understand why they.
You go to a white digital witch, Seth. Can you hear me? Like, because
why people going there? Must you go there?
we have to. Camera get them, man. Let's understand what we're dealing with. That we don't like. Are your students able to sleep well at night? First of all. You can get what I'm saying, because digital witch. If I imagine telling your dad, please, I want to register, or your mom, your parents, I want to register for an IT class. Okay, who's taking the class? Oh, digital witch. I say,
The thing actually, I remember those days when people come to me and say, like they want to make inquiries, and I tell them digital, which some of them is like Holy Ghost fire. I got used to that. Like, but sometimes there was a time people would call me digital, which means inside my mind I say Holy Ghost fire. It's like it's a Nigerian conditioning, but it's fine. But yes, but there are still some persons that the name is the attraction. And I remember having a conversation with one of my Oyibo colleagues, and he was like, I saw people saying digital witch, are you digital? I said, yes. And I said, wow, the name is intriguing. And like, there's where he said it. I'm like, yes, now I get sense part.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any small thing, Holy Ghost fire. Why not they fire me? I don't mean real winch. Like, I'm not a real winch. I have one bars.
No, the name begs the question, though.
Like the person said, marketing is about getting attention. In fact, marketing is about grabbing attention. So sometimes you have to use something that will intrigue the person you're trying to catch. And then the person, the fact that you've gotten the attention to ask questions shows that you have started the sale, or is it to close it? You are doing well already in your sale. So
yeah.
When I saw that name, I actually said, this person is smart. When it comes to marketing, this person understands marketing, And now I understand why it's
we are past the era of firing.
And
it's my girlfriends. It's my girlfriends that calls me digital witch. And when I started to, according to her, there are two. According to them, they said there is no tech problem they bring to me that I don't have a workaround. It's just a workaround. Workaround means, like I used to tell my students as well, I don't believe that there's no solution. The only thing I feel has no solution, maybe death, but every other thing should have a workaround. So whenever they come with their issues, I always have like a workaround, even when I'm not providing a real solution. So they started calling me digital witch. It's like just small, and each time I post my pictures, I just add like digital witch. It's like just for catching cruise. So when I want to start running I didn't know any other thing to call it. It's just digital witch that stick. And I said, okay, fine, no problem. I think the name should work. But I know that people were going to thunder, fire me. But I suppose I know that they're also going to accept it.
The truth,
Like,
truth is that
I was gonna
can
say,
you
good luck convincing a pastor to sponsor sponsor their congregation.
But the pastor should know that I'm not a real witch now. It's not like I'm a real witch. It's just
Oh yeah,
fake.
can't you see? Good luck. Good luck.
actually
Why?
one thing about results is that it messes with arguments. It messes with any kind of doubt. When there is results, when there is impact, everything else just clears from the way. Everything clears out of the way. Like any controversy, it douses it. And even if it didn't have results, if it didn't have impact, that's when this conversation would be an issue. But once there has been, as long as there has been impact, people go like, leave her now. That's what she wants to call it. Whose business is it? After all, she didn't say
who the name. He said, "Who the name help?"
The name help you.
The name help.
That name help you.
Anybody.
That name help you.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying. No, the person. They'll be like,
I understand.
Forget the name. Who the name help? Now skill I want go learn. Things like that.
Okay. I think it's time for us to allow people to join us in this conversation. We still have a lot of questions to throw into the conversation, but let it not look like we're just being greedy and just keeping this just within ourselves. Amongst us. Priscilla, if you want to come in, you can come in now. Anybody who wants to join this conversation, feel free to request the mic now. And once you come in, please be precise with your question, or however you want to engage. Be very precise, and just drop your question. We will engage you. She will respond, and then we'll move forward.
Oh yes, Chuka Wanem, thank you so much. Wanem Wine, you are doing well. I particularly like the enthusiasm and passion you're using to talk about this, and I would like to commend you and your team for the work you're doing. It's kind of like right up my alley, but I operate in different different realm, mostly strategy, implementation, design, the whole nines for clients and how profile companies and all. But I do appreciate what you do, and it's something right up the alley I and my team are discussing. But that being said, I would love to, we have a lot of people here on the question and answer segment, so we'd love to hear from them as to how they think and how they would like to buy in and everything. We'd love to hear from them. But yes, I will share my opinion probably towards the end, because we don't want our guests and our listeners to feel like we are holding the mic. Akwayachuka na Casey.
Yeah, that makes sense. Konyob, and I feel like it's right for everybody to have the opportunity. Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's right.
So can I have 191 Juju from our guests and our listeners? And I'm certain that we'll be able to get those fantastic questions and probably engage our listeners as well. But that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm holding the mic and all. Ejile, my time to sing happy birthday for you.
Having a All right, Azubike. Okay, I think Azubike, go ahead. I know Be Bright came first, but I just saw your name. Go ahead. Let's hear from you.
Evening,
Good evening.
I wanted to Ekwi, I appreciate you, and I'm not here to ask questions but to drop an advice. I've known Ekwi, I think this is going to 10 years I've known her, and if there's one thing I regret, in capital letter regret, is not joining her class on time. And it's very funny that even before she started getting these skills, I was aware, like she shared it with me, and I was saying, I beg, my brain cannot carry it, Biko. My brain cannot carry it. What did I even study in school? Kwana, English, linguistics, education and all. So I was like, my brain can't carry all these things. And funny thing, she also studied same art course like I did. Now look at Ekwi today, and the advice I'll give to people is, don't waste time. Don't tell yourself your brain cannot carry it. Don't say you can't do it. Imagine I had joined that class 7 years ago, or I had followed that to say, okay, this education you want to get, how are they doing it? Let me get it. Do you understand? So if I had even joined that class like 4 years ago, I know where I would have been today. So the advice I'm giving to people is better do it now. That tomorrow is late. Do it now. I just want you to imagine, go back and imagine if I had learned 4 years ago, where I would have been by now, or if I had even joined other 7 years ago to say, oh yeah, babe, this thing where you won't learn, show me road. How then they learn, I'm not follow you learn. So for anyone that hasn't gotten anything, I just want you to know that your brain is like a rubber. It can expand the way you want it to expand. So don't tell yourself, oh, I'm an art student, my brain can't carry it. Oh, tech, it's difficult, I can't do it. Like she said, poverty is worse difficult than that thing you're scared of learning. So that's just the advice.
Thank you very much, Azubrike.
Welcome.
All right, be bright, Thomas. In where? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go on.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I stopped.
Be bright, Thomas.
Okay, can you hear me?
Where? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go on.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I stopped.
Be bright, Thomas. I think there's something wrong with your connection. I think there's something wrong with your connection. You might need to drop and return. It's giving us feedback, and it's like you're in a loop. You know, after you've said the things you've said, it comes back again. Like did like 3 times. So yeah.
The guy network
so please come. Don't make me say what came to my mind now. Okay, let's have another person.
I never seen network with a stammer before, so I was in shock.
Oh God. Well, it seems like I like educated. I know that you have touched a little of that. I mean, you've said some things about that, but can you just drop some areas, just as a Nigerian in Nigeria, trying to find, because everybody's looking for jobs outside Nigeria now that pay on within Nigeria that pay in foreign currency to be able to beat the inflation that is happening. You know, the only way to beat it is to stay on the other side, to earn money in foreign currency, so that even if Naira is losing value against the dollar, you are still on the winning side. So I'm wondering, first of all, can you just list maybe 10, 15 fields that are more accessible in that sense for people living in Nigeria? Because I have learned, I heard some time ago, I don't know how true that is. For some people, there were some jobs you cannot get from Nigeria, to maybe from companies based in the US or Europe or something.
So this is how it works. The thing is, I don't believe that it's because like I said, if having like taking on different roads is like traveling, I can say I've traveled in so many countries. Like I've taken so many roles with different foreign companies, and I'll tell you for free that there's no kind of role you can't that has to be with IT that you can't do from Nigeria. The only problem is that there are some companies that are not fully remote companies. I don't know if you understand me. There are some companies that are fully remote, meaning that they have their employees across the globe. Sometimes they also work around the clock, like this person is working Nigerian time zone, the other person is working US time zone, the other person is working APAC, that's like Asian time zone, all those Latin, all those different time zones. But there are companies that strictly, maybe due to GPDR, all those their security and all of that, they don't, or maybe how sensitive the kind of information they deal with, it don't allow them to employ somebody outside Nigeria. So in that case, what I usually tell people is, why are you focusing on companies that don't hire? It's not like they don't hire Nigeria, but they don't hire outside their country. So it's not Nigeria problem. Because Nigeria, we too, they like pity stories. You make it look like it's your problem. They will not hire South Africa. They will not hire Ghana. They will not hire anybody because they are not in the US. So it's not a Nigerian problem. But if you are applying for roles in a global remote companies that hire globally, the only reason why they will not hire you is because you are not qualified. you are not the right candidate, you don't have the right skill set, or maybe you even have the right skill set, but somebody apparently have a better skill set than you. So it's not you being a Nigerian. So if people don't hire you, the problem is not because you're Nigerian, it's because you are not in the country. Even in the country, sometimes, just like this in Nigeria, a company might be hiring remotely, but they'll tell you it's a remote job, but you have to be in Lagos. So it means that it's only somebody in Lagos that is qualified to take up the role. If you're in Nigeria but you are in Abuja, Enugu, you are not qualified. So that's how it is everywhere. So, and maybe some jobs that has to do with bank. I'm not sure any bank, any well-known bank, would want to hire somebody outside the country to work for them based on some restrictions as well. But if it's like all this a cook, a fintech everywhere that help people transfer money, pay, like all those small softwares companies that help people transfer money, pay their freelancers, like maybe remote.com, deals. My girlfriend works with Deal. My other girlfriend works with remote.com as well, and they are all in Nigeria. So those ones can hire you, but not the main bank. That's what I'm saying. So getting a
Why
job
did
from
you?
Nigeria,
Yeah.
eh?
She get bad
Sorry.
mouth. She can. She
What did
can.
you
As
say?
She
in,
not say she get bad mouth.
I don't know if I heard it very well. Did you just say a cookie companies?
A cookie,
Yes,
fintech, a cookie. She get bad mouth too. Chuka. Hey.
Well, I
I'm not
get
trying
what
to
you
say they are
said.
small.
We get
I'm
you.
not saying they are
Equi,
small.
We get you.
equi, biko. Oh.
We get you. I feel you. But why I'm asking that question is because, I mean, I'm looking at, okay, if I'm an employer and I have a company based in Europe or the US, I'm and hire people from outside the US or outside Europe. I'm thinking about the regulations, that my company
That's what I'm
abides
saying.
by.
There are some.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, that there are some
Hmm.
that don't hire because of that regulation. But why are you focusing on the company that have regulation when there are thousand? Okay, let me put it this way. Do you know that Oribo people are not doing us any favor by hiring us?
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
are the ones doing them favor.
They need
Because you can
they need
hire
cheap
me
labor.
and pay me $1,000. You cannot pay a US citizen $1,000 to do the
Not
same job.
yes.
Or they are possible.
Cheap
So
labor.
if I have the right skill set, yes. So if I have the right skill set and all of that, why like there's a company that I left. Before I left that company, I was the first black person that joined the company, the first African, the whole of Africa that joined the company. And before I left, I had all my girlfriends works in the company, still works there. And I had many other Nigerians that I brought in, the others joined through my friends. I remember when we went to Summit, the CEO called like a Nigerian. So I was telling them, you guys need to find a way to appreciate Equi. Equi just made us realize that there's a country in Nigeria that have talents like you. So
Hmm.
these people will be happy to hire you and pay you the amount they're paying you. So as long as you have the right skills, but there
Hmm.
is no need for you to feel bad when you don't get this thing, because it's just like you own your own company. Nobody's going to hire you because you are desperate to get a job or because you need a job. The same way you need that job, the same way the next person apply need a job. So there is no sentiment. Me
Hmm.
personally, I also hire my company, like when they want to hire my team, they sometimes send me people to interview. When I'm interviewing, I don't know you, so there's nothing like sentiments. I'm only going to write based on the form they give me. I'm going to fill in the form based on your performance. So it's not like
Hmm.
anybody is coming to, oh, you no, there is no sense. So when you get rejection, the truth na person will try to get rejection. If you don't apply, you're not going to get rejection.
True.
And
True.
you got rejection is because it is another person's time. The
Hmm.
same way they pray, may God give you. That is the same way another person pray. So that is that person's time. For this time, you will get acceptance. It means that another person also got rejection. That
Hmm.
is life.
That's a good way to look
When the
at it.
company said that, that's how me I look at life. Actually, my papa taught me it's either yes or no. So I'm not entitled to yes. I'm entitled to no. So I'm okay with both.
Yeah.
So when you look at job hunting, there are remote platform like Upwork where everything them or most things there are 100% globally remote. You focus on globally remote jobs. Then when you see the ones that say, oh, because it's not because you're in Nigeria, they only make reference because yes, you're in Nigeria. But had it mean you are in Ghana, they will still say it's because you're in Ghana. Because the truth is that they have some uh security or policy protocols guiding them, and they cannot default that because of the kind of customers they support.
Hmm.
And just that.
Ekwe, I have a question for you. Oh, and I want to piggyback on the question Chuka asked earlier. And because we're in the subject of Nigeria now, and I want to talk about Nigeria. So being a Nigerian, being a Nigerian,
Mm,
there are certain challenges and hurdles that you face, especially if you're working in the IT
yeah,
industry. And oftentimes you hear people talk about it. We know our challenges as Nigerians. We know we have the power challenges. We also know that we have the internet challenges or whatever. You might break it
internet.
down, and all of those things that are needed if you want to secure a very good job in that IT space. So my question to you is, how have you been able to navigate some of these challenges and position yourself to still
Well,
be able to do well irrespective of those challenges?
well, like I said, I maybe like I've grown. Even when I've not grown, I try to understand that for you to get something, it's like an investment. At the moment in my house, I'm not sure there's no. I have like two different fiber of all those fiber network. I still have MTN, my fi to support my life. In terms of lights, I have to buy inverter. If I'm inverter, I did start using inverter today. Like when immediately I started working remotely, I started with just one battery and one solar panel. Why? Because when you work remotely, you cannot tell these people that you don't have lights. It sounds so funny because they are paying you. Apart from the fact they are paying you, not having lights is like, I don't know how to explain it. Even when I don't have lights or my sauna is finished, everything, I can just go to carry my laptop, go to maybe a coffee shop, I can even buy a bottle of Coke, and I'll be charging my laptop and I'll be working there. So you make effort. Just like there was a time somebody made a post on Facebook. I think it was like a contest, and I think people were expected to record themselves like to advertise their product. And somebody said something about, why is some people's video blurry? Can't you use an iPhone or borrow an iPhone? And instead of people to see the real thing that the person was trying to say, they started attacking the person. Must everybody have an iPhone? I just saw that kind of post and I walked past, because to me, I understand the angle the girl that made the post was coming from. It's effort. Somebody's giving you the opportunity to sell your market. The least effort or the least you can do is go the extra mile to borrow a good phone and make a quality video. You doesn't have to have an iPhone. Like me, when I started my remote job, I don't have a MiFi, I don't have headset. If I want to go for an interview, I had to go and borrow my friend MiFi. Then I have to borrow my other friend headset. This is me making effort because I knew that if I'm to get this job, I don't even mind borrowing money to buy those things when I get the job. So working remotely is you understanding that this is like you have a farm. You need to buy hoe that you're going to use to farm. You used to buy cutlass that is going to use and cut your glasses and all that. So you need all these things. And of course, sometimes you can have all these things and they may still be like maybe power consigned all over your areas, or maybe I think in the last 2 months we had internet issues. But even in the midst of all this thing, I was still working. So how did I do it? I have to ask all my friend that is not using the internet I'm using. Ask the guy, which internet do you use? Do you have network problem in your area? Oh, I'm managing it too. Can I come around? That is effort. So you make effort. That's just it. Because you are being paid to make the effort.
I think that's the difference between working for a foreign organization and working for a Nigerian organization, because there are standards, and those standards cannot be compromised just because you're a Nigerian. It doesn't respect where you are from or where you are based.
Exactly.
So that brings me to this. From what your students or people around you, people you've trained, because I know that the work ethic, I remember the day a friend of mine, this was years ago, a friend of mine, childhood friend who had moved to the US, we used to exchange emails. We weren't doing much of chatting, it was just emails because just put details about his story, what he's experiencing now, and I'll reply and tell about mine. We just keep sharing. And one day he said to me, in all the things he said, the only thing I remember till today is, Chuka, I don't mean to insult you, I don't mean to disrespect you, but he said it is difficult for anybody living in Nigeria who has not worked with a multinational to understand what it means to work in a structured environment and work very hard. He said it's a different realm. It's an entirely different realm. You respect every minute. You are accountable for every minute. This is not something we are used to in Nigeria. You can't take calls when you are working.
In Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put it this way.
So the question I want to ask you is,
it's not a broad problem.
It's a culture problem, right?
So ask your question.
The question I want to ask is,
the companies like. Ask your question.
The question I want to ask is, because I'm not saying Nigeria, I'm just saying if you're not working for a multinational in Nigeria, you may not understand what it means to work in that kind of structured environment where everything is going by the second, by the minute, because those companies use the same model that their head office use wherever they are, where they pay people per hour.
Yeah.
So the question I'm asking is, for those Nigerians based in Nigeria who have been used to this, our culture, how are they able to navigate with their work ethic to evolve into what is required of them so easily?
The thing is that I tell my students, when you are in Rome, you do like the Romans do. You need a job. Should be you need job, I be no need job. You want to lose the job. If you want to lose the job, then I have seen students that lost their job because of should I call it negligence to their work or things they expected to do. I've seen some students lose their job actually. But the thing is that when you join a company, I tell my students, one of the first things you're expected to do is to look at how, like, there's what they call playbook. Playbook is what is like a document that contains everything about your role, the time you resume work, how you talk to your, talk to your customers depending on your role, how you carry out your daily activities, the policies and all of that. So now for somebody like me or you that need a job, and you know that this job is going to feed you, there is no way you are going to default. There are other type of companies that people don't, you are not even aware. Like my current company where I work, we run on an organization. The kind of organizational culture we run is called holocracy. Holocracy is a system of organization whereby we don't have something like manager, team lead, do this, that, or anybody guiding anybody telling you to do anything. So nobody's going to tell you what to do. Nobody is going to assign a task to you. Okay, somebody can assign a task to you depending what they need from you, but they are not assigning that task to you because they are your manager. Do you get the point? Somebody can tell me to do something and I'll tell the person outrightly no and tell them why I cannot do that. So in this case, if you are not disciplined and you find yourself in that kind of company, you may not be able to last a month. Why? Because nobody is going to tell you what to do. But the truth is that people are watching you. And if you are not performing, at the end of the month, they will sack you. Do you get the point? Yeah. So as a Nigerian who has been working in anything goes, I think the problem Nigeria have is time. We don't respect time. African time. I remember somebody I sought a job to last year, not 2 years ago. And she knew that the training for that job starts by 2 p.m. And as at 2 p.m. she was in the bank. And one of the person working in the company, like there's a manager, also she's also my student. So, and she was the person that was supposed to train them that day. So 2 p.m. she have not joined the meeting. And that one that is my student, she now sent me a message. I was like, Ekwi, where is this girl you sent to us now? That they have been waiting for her in the training and she's not there. And she's calling her, she's not picking. This girl, okay, you knew this particular student is from here and she will understand you even if you lie or even if you are saying the truth. You didn't talk to her. You went to the Slack group where everybody, including manager, including the CEO, everybody, they tell the people, then you say something like, well, I'm currently in the bank, can you give me 30 minutes? Like, as president where you be, they should give you 30 minutes.
Ah, Diego,
And that was the end.
of course.
The way they sacked her, it's paid me so much because they didn't just sack only her. There were three, and I was the one that sent the three of them. There were three that they were training. They just sacked the three of them. But why did you not pay me? Because they still hired new people, and the new people they hired is still from my community. So to pay me. But one of the people they sacked actually paid me because she actually needed that job. So Nigerians, and I feel why it's like that is because we are not being paid per hour. When you are being paid per hour,
I agree.
that is now when you also get to understand the value of it or your time. Like me, I earn per hour actually. So there are some things you want me to do, and when I check the amount it will cost me, I'll ask you if is either you're paying me that amount or my dear, it's not worth it. So I think maybe if Nigerian jobs can change their, maybe they start paying people per hour. Any hour where work, go get the money. I think a lot of people will actually change their attitude to work as well.
I
I'm
believe.
glad you are talking about this, Chuka. Yota.
Yeah.
Because on they would them very well. And like Ikwi said, it's a mixture of a lot of things, right? What they are used to seeing. Most of the, will I say, from my observation, most of our workforce in Nigeria is civil servanty kind of work. In Bolivia.
Yeah.
Eloa. Erugbo izu ike gị na enyi gị nwoke face unu akọgide akụkọ from beginning to evening, and that's one of the reasons why I feel extremely grateful, that I had the opportunity to work first in a multinational. The first place I worked straight out of NYSC was a multinational. You see, it was straighten the way you work, understanding of lines, understanding of duty, ability to strategize around your KPIs, understanding objectives. There's just a lot you learn from such an environment. And one of the reasons, again, I'm not so harsh on the work is because I understand that there are not enough multinationals to go around. In kind when I went safe, I don't know. Every day, I say this one's allowed go, this one's allowed go. You understand? So there are not enough multinationals, and most of our local companies, it's a bit of both. Where you have people, I don't even know what to call it, but yes, it's affecting our young ones. Sometimes I wish that there's enough multinationals to go around or enough structured businesses to go around, because like Ikwi said, if you're working with people directly, sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, where were you working since, and how do you even think, where you will hire somebody, the person will tell you time the person wants to work, or that guy say, hey, yesterday or 12 culture, but or 3 kogi bidon. Gina you say, bia enyi, gini ki euro. What did you eat?
Yeah. I feel like we
It's
don't even talk
crazy,
about
like
it
it's
a
really,
lot,
really
though.
crazy. But
Yeah,
yes,
Priscilla, you're right.
we
I feel
really
like
it's a bit of a bother, and it will bother anybody going with all these skills, because all these skills are high demand skills, and they are required in high demand companies, and most high demand companies are structured, and you can't be praying for what is bigger than you. Maybe going to schools like the one Equi is handling, and some other schools will help, for you to learn the skills. But then there's the soft skills that keeps you in the business. So again, some of them will carry their bad
Yeah.
character plus the skills, and then it's terrible because, something as basic as email etiquette, you do not have it. You do not even know how to. You don't understand hierarchy. Something as basic as understanding hierarchy can kick you out of a job in 2 weeks, because insubordination is unacceptable anywhere. And this anything goes, no grief for anybody kind of mindset, where you don't know where to stop, you don't know where to draw the line. You start, you have a staff, jump hierarchy and go straight to the client. You have a reporting line. These are the many little things that most of some working force we have here don't add importance to, but it's very, very key. You don't just go and open your mouth and why that's it. There are ways to communicate your frustration without actually indicting yourself both via email. I see some emails and I just laugh. If you had to send it in some and they forward it to HR from DS straight to disciplinary committee, straight. There's no understanding whether the other person frustrated you. And I believe, and I would love our brothers and sisters, in addition to learning, the core hard skills, to also add the soft skills. And that's one thing I love about customer service. Again, I feel very fortunate to have done that job at the first times of my life, because the thing, that job will humble you. It will unless you don't want to last. But if you genuinely want to learn the job, it would humble you. And if you can add that skill to whatever you're doing, it will help you in your communication and you being able to manage people, because it's not only external customers that you interact with. Your client, your colleagues are your internal customers. You are serving them in one way or the other. So it's also important for us to learn it. So I'm very glad Ikwi brought this up, and Chuka, you also brought up this question, and I would love most of us here to, I know we have a lot of professionals here. So those up and coming, looking for opportunities, please work on this. The hard skills can get you in the door. It's the soft skills that will keep you there. If you don't have it, you are gone, and they will replace you in an instant. And you can't hustle fast, prepare, only for you to lose the job in less than a month. That thing will mess up with your psyche. Even people that lose their jobs 2 years later, it still messes up with their psyche. Now remaining you that have not even stayed enough to gather yourself together or get enough skill set or enough, how do you explain in your CV that you worked in this place for just 2 weeks? Any HR that knows their job will guess exactly what happened, and I'm sorry, you are not getting the next opportunity. So maybe you need the soft skills to put your leg in the door and to maintain your space on the table, unless you're out the door. Thank you. Okay, please go on, please. You have the floor.
I wanted to chime in quickly. Can you hear me, Chuka?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
I feel like we don't talk about this enough, or as often as we should. I don't believe we do, but it's very, very important, because oftentimes, you see this happen. People work so hard to create an opportunity, and then in a second, they lose that opportunity and it's gone. And you wonder, okay, where was the disconnect? What happened? And you see it a lot in the corporate culture, especially when we then begin to find opportunities outside our geographic location. We oftentimes see where the disconnect happens, because there's a cultural difference, right? And for me, my own experience, just the background, and I'm not finance, and I work in Canada. So I experienced the cultural shock. I saw it. It took me a while for me to get used to it. And you see it, especially when you start working for some of those multinationals, or even having those remote jobs, foreign jobs that are remote. You come across some of these things, how you talk, HR, how you communicate with your fellow staff, your colleagues, management, even HR, clients, all of those things, all the important. For me, I think there's 3 things. Number one, as a Nigerian, number one, be on time. Be on time. All the important. Number one, be on time. We don't have a good time culture, so we need to be on time. Number one. Number two, be ready, be prepared. Prepared just means your to-do list. Itemizing help nature achieve that day in the week or what. If you're coming to a meeting, be prepared. Just be ready, be prepared. And number 3, be polite. Be polite. Being polite, it doesn't mean sir, ma. Here, you don't call manager or, ma, side. Like, none of that happens. They go by their names, but you're polite, you're respectful in your communication. I think for me, those are the 3 most important things that has helped me personally navigate the cultural experience here. So I would encourage everyone to still imbibe that culture, and then hopefully maybe we can talk about it a lot more, but hopefully people can add to it as well. So that's my 2 cents.
And I think another thing is that Nigerians sometimes they are you get job in a remote workplace. Some of them too sabi do eye service. You know what I mean by eye service? You overdo. And even people are not dumb. They also know when you are trying so hard to overdo. So I tell people, when you get a job, do your job. If you want to go extra mile, do extra mile, but don't poke nose in things that it's not supposed to be your business. Just do your job. You resume work by 8. If you resume work by 8, make sure that you are ready at your workstation by 8. Do your job, do collaborate with people the way you need to collaborate with them, respect everybody, know the kind of language you use, understand that you are not in Nigeria. Working remotely is like you have traveled abroad. You are dealing with diverse set of people with diverse culture. In my company, we there are some words we don't even allow anybody to use, so we just want everybody to, understand the culture difference and stick to that. Don't overshow yourself, because some of them will get remote job. They want to be on everybody's faces, and this how you overdo it. People that were there before you, they might get, they'll start getting upset or triggered. Things with when you are not doing anything, they are just triggered. And before you know it, they might decide to make the place uncomfortable for you, especially if you are working with people like Filipinos. I don't have to tell you how much those guys can go, and you see yourself to square one again. So just do your
I-
job, mind your business, be
Indians
friendly,
too.
and be friendly, and you'll be fine.
Hmm. Interesting. So let's get some more people. I see a couple of
Yeah,
hands here.
I
Let's
think
get
I think
people
B
tuned in.
I think B Wright was here before, and he had issues with his connection. So let's have him now. B Wright, go on.
Yes. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm a victim of this. Um, I got terminated from ASAP ticket. It was due to this power supply. My work time was between 12:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. That's night shift. So that was the only option available to me. So buying of fuel during this period, it was not easy, and it was not a small gen, so I could not keep up. So I got terminated. And a friend of mine was like, just get some skills and all that. So it was through this Dreamport affiliated with ASAP Ticket. So we are just in a group discussing. Then a lady there was like, I got my skills from Digital Wish. I was like, Digital Wish from where again? So she was just talking how she was taught and she got a job, and she wanted to use this ASAP ticket job just as like a backup to it, but you know, let do like there was no salary at the end of the day. So it was based on commission. If you sell, you see money. If you don't sell, and it's not as if the customers were there. You just have to go and also your customers, maybe Nigerians traveling just like that. So that's where I got to know about Digital Wish, and I joined this cohort for October, November. And I just want to say um, everyone should at least get an IT skill. It's the least you can do for yourself, if at all. So that's just what I have to say.
Thank you, B Wright. Thank you. Okay,
But
D Bright. Sorry, I've
but
been
if your
pronouncing your name
problem,
wrongly. Go
Yeah?
on.
if your problem was just light, so you don't get friend we go carry your laptop go with you for the night
I was
finish.
gonna say that.
No, na night, like during the day, during my training, that was from July, July till August. So it was during the daytime. We were using EST time, so I could navigate my time throughout. You know. So, but that night time, I need to be at home, so I could not keep up every day for it. So I have to show up every day just like that, and your screen has to be on. So there's no way these quality assurance people they do monitor and all that. So it was difficult. There was no pay at the end of the day. I was buying fuel like
Wow.
so that was it.
No, 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 no.
It was draining actually.
Sorry.
Hmm. Sorry to hear about that. It's never an easy thing to lose your source of income and livelihood. So it's tough, and I think sometimes when we go through certain experiences, it teaches us things. It teaches us, what to do better or at, and what not to do, right, in some situations. So my brother, it's again, sorry to hear that, but I always like to say that there are better things ahead of you. So don't even worry, more opportunities will come. As doors close, more doors open. So
Okay.
just keep
Yeah.
pushing, keep working hard, keep pushing. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank
let's
you.
bring on,
Thank you.
yeah, let's bring on the next person. I think Mezis,
Yeah,
if I'm
Maxis.
pronouncing it correct. Please go ahead, Mezis. You have the floor.
Okay, Rhoda, go ahead. Rhoda Kemisola.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma. I just want to ask, like this kind of program now. I want to ask how it can be more visible, like for people outside there. Because if not for the fact that I joined a quick class and I'm on a WhatsApp channel and she keep posting something like this, like something like webinar for like LinkedIn, Twitter space and all of that. I don't know that this kind of program like exists and they share this kind of knowledge and all of that. Because even how I got in contact with a quick class, it's to me it's more or less like supernatural, just like I see it as a way, as a result of answered prayer from God, that God actually see my heart desire. So that was how I got in contact with a quick class. I didn't know that something like that exists at all. So as a graduate, I've been struggling to get a skill to just start from somewhere. And as she said it earlier that going to YouTube to to do a self study like doesn't, it's not that it cannot help, but like she said she was being rugged and all of that, because it's something that I have tried on my own, but it didn't work at all. Like it didn't work. And I tried to get information from other people that have been on this field. They are not giving me that accurate knowledge that I need. Some of them keep posting me and all of that. So until I got to like I found that page at the digital witch page, and I followed that for some weeks, and I was convinced about that class. Like nobody informed me about it. And then since then I've been trying to tell my friend about her class, about the testimony I've been seeing her posting and all of that. But then for now, because me, I'm just starting the class, like starting a class, like I'm a new student. So for now, people are not taking me serious. They're like, what's this person saying that? No, some of them even say that, is he tech that they have paid huge amount of money for and all of that they didn't see results. Some people have just ignored tech, like tech is broad, tech is huge, tech is blah blah blah. But I know that if most of these people come in contact with a quick class, like they will have a life transforming change. How would I put it now? So I just want to ask that, how can this kind of Twitter space like this, where knowledge is being shared, how can it be more visible to people outside there, like to young people, to graduates and undergraduates? Thank you so much.
Well, Rhoda, thank you very much for coming on this space. This is actually the MONI show, and it's mostly focused on what pertains to Ndibo. But at the same time, we welcome people from any region and any part of the world who want to join the conversation. The truth is that we are doing our best to expand the audience of this conversation. But at the same time, we try to bring people into the space, to come and listen while the space is on. That's why whenever we start, we have this custom, we ask people to share the space. But beyond that, this is a recorded space. So it stays on Twitter or X for I don't know how long, but over a year or something around that. But we go the extra effort to also reproduce this whole conversation and post it on our YouTube channel at the youtube.com/kunie-media. So the people can find anything that we have discussed here there. So we are we are kind of taking all the contents that we create here, we reproduce it, make it more palatable for YouTube, and then publish it on YouTube for people to find it there. So anybody you think should be able to access this information or needs this information, will be able to find it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is available on our bio on this Twitter. You can find it there. But beyond that, there will be a time when this will become even much more expanded. It will be multi-platform. That means people will be able to listen to it by just clicking on a link that doesn't go to any social media. Maybe open the browser and just listen. We're getting to that point where people will be able to listen to it from anywhere they are, with whatever they are using, as long as they have the internet. So that effort is coming. I hope that clears your question.
Okay, sir. Okay, now I actually want to chip in this. That what about going to, okay, for NYC now they have their CDS days and all of that. What about organizing a program to just enlighten them about this kind of program? Because there are a lot of people out there that they just come from different organizations to NYC camp. I could remember when I was serving, there are a lot of people that will just come, they will say, they have HR skill, they have project management skill. They will just collect our money and consume it like that without even giving us anything. I remember then I saved up my 2 alawi. That was 60,000 naira, yes. And I paid for a course. I have those certificates with me here. In fact, I even used them to snap when I was doing my POP. I use them to snap and all of that, but they are meaningless. These are useful knowledge that EQUI is sharing. Please, we need you to help us to enlighten more graduates and undergraduates. I'm really concerned about this aspect.
I have identified 2 things. Everybody can hear it. You have passion for sharing information, useful information. Second thing, you have a burden. So you have already served, right? You can identify these places where people need the information. Maybe you can also take it a step further and try to see if you can organize something. Then ask other people to be part of it. Even us, we might actually be able to be part of it. EQUI too. You can create something that EQUI will be interested in being part of. That is how things expand. It actually could become a business for you. I'm just giving you tips now. When you identify a real problem and you can find a solution to that problem, and that solution can be monetized, that's business, right? So you can take up that initiative and see where it leads. That's my suggestion. Because for us, what we do for now is to make sure that we have a conversation where people gather and look at real issues. And it's not just business, it's not just IT, it's not just tech, it's not just education. It covers every aspect of life as far as the evils are concerned, But we intend to actually expand it to other things that will be coming soon. But thank you very much for your suggestion.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to add too is, I heard you, and again, Chika is right, you're very passionate. But I don't really think, and hold on to those pictures you took with those certificates. I think it will tell a story at some point, down the road. But I don't think any knowledge is a waste. You might decide not to pursue. Yeah, you might decide not to pursue that angle, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a waste. There are people who are well versed in customer service. There are project managers, there are business analysts, there are people who've done some of these certifications, and it's valuable to them now. It's just at that phase, and I used to be there too. There are certain points you be in life, you just don't know what direction. It feels like you want to do everything. Oh, let me get this, let me get in case any door opens.
See,
right?
This happens to everybody. This thing you're talking about, It happens to everybody, every human being. Nobody has it all figured out. That's the truth.
Yeah, and it's true. There's nothing wrong in that. I remember when I first set foot in the country, I wasn't sure. I did real estate. I had accounting background. I got an accounting certification. I got my finance. I got this done. I'm searching where is the angle, where it's gonna open up. But all you're doing is you're actually giving yourself a lot of skill set. You're acquiring all of this skill set, which may or may not be valuable. But the thing is, when opportunity comes, make sure that you're already ready, because sometimes it's too late to prepare when opportunity comes. So all you're doing is preparing and waiting for that opportunity to open up, right? So for me, it's not really about acquire as much as you can. Sometimes they can be interrelated, right? Sometimes it can be meaningful in different areas. You can get to a particular industry and find, actually I can transfer this skill set I acquired in this other industry here. right? And it's valuable, especially you see that in customer service a lot, being able to interact with people, being able to negotiate a lot more, be likable as a person based on how you talk, how you communicate. All of those things are important. So again, no skill is a waste. It's just you didn't really leverage it. That's all it is, which is fine. Maybe you found something else you're much more passionate about, and that's what you're pursuing now. So it's fine. But again, don't just stop. Chuka's giving you a challenge. Just look at things from a different perspective. Maybe it's an opportunity that you haven't really seen clearly, and Chika has helped you expand your focus. Now, you know what, maybe I can take on this challenge and see where it leads to. So don't stop, keep pushing, and then you see what comes out of it. Okay. Ekwi, anything you want to add? Because I know this is your student. Any words of encouragement for her?
But like you almost said what I wanted to say. I wanted to tell her that when it comes to skill, I don't believe that any skill is a waste. And I've said it here today that most of the skills I'm acquiring or have already acquired, I don't even know where I need them. Like I said, I have product management certificate, international certificate too. I have Scrum Master certificate from Safe. I have product management certificate from Safe. I have and product owner certificate. I'm not all these things I mentioned. That is not my area of expertise at the moment, but I have all those certificates. But somehow, some of the things I learned from these certifications, I try to replicate them in my current role. And even the ones I'm not replicating, I still feel maybe at some point they might be useful. There are so many other skills that I've acquired along the line that when I was acquiring them, I don't see the need. But you can just find yourself in a new role and you realize that all the things you learned during that training is what you need to be successful in the current role. So it's not a waste until maybe much later I realize I don't need it anymore. But for now, you can't really say they are waste or not.
All right. Let's hear from Megsis. Go for it, Megsis.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Our guest today, this is Wish, and I thank you for everything you are doing for the youth in Nigeria. I just had a simple question to ask. In your modules, in your curriculum, do you have any space for the soft skills we have all complained about? I'm asking because I was really frustrated like 2 years ago. Yes.
Is it? I have. The thing is that I have places for communication and almost all the things we talk about here. Almost everything we talk about here. So it's that when you tell me your need, like you say you have frustration. So on what area did you have the frustration? Like what is your exact need?
So I'm telling in your training module, is there a section in the curriculum that has to deal with this soft skill? Because along the line we're complaining about these kids not having the required soft skill, culture shock, and all of that. My frustration stems from the fact that sometime 2 years ago, I organized online training for a lot of university students in the East. A lot of university students in the East. I had to pay them 7,700 or 8,800 with a lot of people currently doing IT either in Canada or in the US. And the training kicked off. They were all excited. The training kicked off. 7 students per teacher, some in network security, some network, some coding, and all of that. But those tutors came back and after 6 weeks of training, told me that those kids are not serious. That a lot of them are coming at their DM to start asking them for money. That some people believe, some of those people believe that they are doing the tutors a favor. They don't come to class, give excuses, internet, lights, all those kind of things.
That is why I'm not in support of people begging people to join a class. Like if I have this man that stays in the US that have this habit of registering people in my class, and I noticed that like this section that is ongoing alone, he registered 9 persons. Then sometime this year we had a conversation. What was the conversation? He doesn't just register people that want to take the class. He wants to force people like his cousins, all those. If you just ask him for just 2K, he will tell you, okay, come and learn a skill. And at the end of the day, these people will join the community. They will not attend class. They will not even watch the video. Some of them will be, maybe when he start trying to probe why they are not or what they are doing, some of them will get upset and start talking to me in a rude way. And I told him that is not how it is done. You cannot help somebody who do not want to be helped. Pushing everybody cannot go into tech. And even if those people want to go into tech, it has to stem from their own interest. They are interested in doing this. Then you not come in or you ask them, is this what you want? So you don't push people to learn. The truth is, Nigeria, especially some people, once they notice that you're in abroad, the next thing is to task you. That is to ask you for money, or I don't know how their mind work, but this is what so many people do. But this how you bring these people in. They know the why they are here. Like, it's just like my community. I'm not sure there's any of my students who fear go agree, come my day and come they ask. It's not like when you are in a need, like you are in need of something, you can't come to me. But that is not why you're in my community. You didn't pay me 20, 25K to come and collect 50K from me. That is against sense. So the idea is people who come to learn, what is their purpose? Because some of them, the reason why they join that training might just be to be able to have access to those people and beg them for money. So I think you should rather focus on people who understand why they are here. Are they coming here to learn? Are they interested in the learning process? What is their need? Because the people, probably you sold the training to the wrong audience. That's just it. Those people are not ready to learn.
Let me just add something, Maxis. Maybe again, I like to always look at things from different perspectives. I know if you join work, if you work for a company, whether it's a multinational, whatever company you work, one of the first things you do is that they will train you. You have a period of training where you get accustomed to the system, the processes, whatnot, before you actually start working. One of the most important part of that training is ethics. Especially for me in my field as a financial planner, we do ethics. What not to do. Like if you do this one, you're fired. Like you're gone. Don't do this. Do this one. This is unacceptable. This. Like ethics is important. So next is maybe your approach should have been you bring on these students before the actual training starts. You people have to complete this ethics course. Do not do this. Don't do this. You understand what I'm saying? Point it out. Let it be clear before we even start. The moment you do this is the consequence. You're leaving. You're gone. Like if that's clear enough and you start with that approach, maybe, I'm just saying, maybe it might help. Obviously, not be everybody go help. Some people get coconut head, but I'm thinking there's a good percentage. There's a good chance, though, it might be able to help a lot of people. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think I got the underlining thing. You cannot help somebody who does not want to be helped. They needed to be helped before somebody has to realize that he needs help before he can actually begin to get that help. Because now when I look at them, and I know where I am, from where they sit, I can see how difficult it's going to be for some of them in 3, 4, 5 years time. And then I'm trying to plan for them, but unfortunately, the people you are planning for have other plans. And it's kind of like frustrating because they jump out of school and they are jobless, they don't have any skill, unemployable. They just roam the streets, and every time you hit Nigeria, some of these guys are the ones that will lay you on the street. So you're like, okay, how do I get these people off and get them engaged? And I get them engaged, then you get all this frustration. But I think, like you said, you can't help somebody who cannot be helped. I don't know what else to do with those kids. It's kind of like very frustrating. Everybody has this entitlement mentality. Like it just drives everybody crazy.
Well, I think that this is a different conversation in the sense that, I mean, like they say, I used to hear this when I was a kid. In every Judas, in every 12, there's a Judas. I think that there are people who will never make efforts. There are people who will never want to amount to anything because of the way they are conditioned from their birth, how they were raised. A lot of things contributed to that. It's not because they are naturally useless. So considering that, the only thing we can do is to focus on those, not the only thing. One of the first things we need to do is to focus on those who are looking for opportunity people who want to make effort, but they don't know their left from their right. They don't know what to do. That's why we create this kind of conversations, because I have been in those situations too. And Ekwi, from what she said in her story, she was once there. There are millions of Nigerians who are in that situation right now. Some don't even know where to start. They don't even know that it's possible to even get a job with just basic skills. So when we've gotten enough of those people empowered, the other people who want to be useless will begin to think again. We didn't do these people now. How my own can do different? Do you understand? But the bigger solution to that would be what I would call reorientation. When it's time for reorientation, we will do something about that from our end with what we can do. But for now, my opinion, I would just focus on people who want to do something. Like we used to say when we were kids, this is not for everybody. So we focus on who it is for, you know. That's why they say it this way, Biko, cut some soap for me. If anybody comes to you to ask you to cut some soap for them, what it means is that the person wants to bath, not literally. The person wants to bath. He needs it. He has seen that you have it. He needs it. So he's asking you to give him a tip of what you know, so he can also apply it to his own life and be like you. Those are the people that we should be focusing on when it comes to this. And I think Ekwe knows how to handle those kind of people, you know. So that's what it's about.
Okay, thank you so much. That's what I wanted to talk about.
All right, might I add, Mr. Mexis, thank you so much for what you do. All the matter you're interested in helping people to acquire these skills. And what I would just probably add in is maybe they might not be interested in the skills that you're paying for them. You know, more of like maybe chokahamuta tech skills and uche hanoreba. We've had a case like that where actually what is Hinewu that time, and Uche Yanoreba, and because of Uche Yanoreba, Ishi Ekwehivia, but immediately, you know, he was given the individual was given the opportunity to choose. You know, he took his time and he chose, and oh my goodness, it was like fish in water. He was just thriving, you know. So probably you might want to, you know, look into that segment and say, okay, Mobro Nichori Menka Ke Kichori Me. Maybe have a sit down. If you are going to be interested in having them in courses, have a sit down with the organizers and listen for the needs, assess the needs of these individuals. They might have strengths in places that is not related to tech skills. They might have strengths in places that you are not considering that may be a money maker because of Nahewu. Some years ago, on a bank, at some point. Oh, there are some professions that just keep, you know, there are some things that keep changing. Maybe that individual is interested in learning welding or tailoring, or this particular individual I'm speaking about was interested in learning welding. It was surprising to everybody, but that's what he was interested in. And when he was given the opportunity, he thrived in that. And, you know, he became so good that he was being invited by his Oga to every single job that they were doing. So probably these individuals are not maybe entirely useless. They just need to be, you know, given the opportunity to thrive in what they can or where they have strengths in. Maybe there's something that is there for them. Hopefully, if you're interested in helping these individuals, hopefully if you have the time, or if you don't have the time, you could outsource it. If you are genuinely interested in going that path, they will help them find these things. Okay, but Chuku Goziegi Nihenaru, keep having the strength to do what you're doing. Thank you for your service anyways.
Yeah, I agree. You want na like yeah. It's in na fundraising. Kona ego. And then, you understand? If they like to beg, put them in fundraising so that they keep begging. If they like to fight, register them. TNA boxing, they can fight UFC. You know, any of those.
There's someone sharing money on Facebook or Brian. So the they can go on Facebook and type Brian. They might be dropping their accounts and they might be.
Yeah. So it's just aligning the skill sets.
Yeah. Okay. I think that we have done justice to the conversation. I don't think we have exhausted it, and we can't possibly exhaust it, but we at least, let's say we've scratched a lot of it. We've touched it very much, and we've gotten something. I hope you have some things you're taking away with you. I want to apologize to those who have been trying to. I noticed that some people are trying to join this conversation. They have been requesting the mic, but somehow I can't even see them. But I know that there are more than 15 to 20 requests that I haven't touched because I can't see them. So if I'm not receiving your request, it means that something is wrong. Maybe it's from my end, maybe it's from your end. I don't know. If you're in Nigeria, that's more likely to be the case. I'm in Nigeria too, so sometimes when the network is not very good, a guy Elon Musk, his app is not very friendly with poor internet connection. So that's what we've been going through here. That's why it seems as if we're not giving you the chance, even though you've been requesting. This is the situation. We're not segregating. We're not looking at anybody and saying this one should not be part of it. Yeah. Let's hear from Virginia Eze. Sorry. Go for it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Connie. Is that name right? I'm right. Thank you. Kunye, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kunye, and thank you, because thank you, the speaker. I really appreciate this opportunity. So I want to ask a question, and just like what Ekwi said, there's something she said which I really took it personal, and that's really nice. I really saw I saw it very, very meaningful to me, because the question, what she said when you try to acquire, maybe you're upskilling and then you're trying to learn so many skills, and then you may end up becoming a jack of, when you're trying to be a jack of all trade, you may end up being a master of none. So that got me thinking, because like as a data analyst, right? So I've acquired the skill for like 3 years ago, and last year I got to learn another skill, and I tried to acquire. So I've learned so many software like Python, like coding, machine learning, a lot of them, but it's keep pushing me away from the initial major skill which I've acquired. Like I did data analytics. Now I'm taking one of our course, one of our training, IT support training. So now it's about visual assistant. So now I feel like it's totally different from data analytics. So I'm trying to ask, the question is now, how do I combine the skills? Because in my LinkedIn profile, data analytics. Sorry, can you hear me?
Okay. The question is for me, Abby.
Yeah, sure.
Oh yes. Yeah,
So
please. Yes, for you.
Like basically, when we talk about the skills you learn in my community, how do you plan delivering your data analytics skills? Like, I understand that you know how to use your Python, maybe Power BI, maybe Tableau, and all that tools that you guys use. Now, when you get, to that point, I need to start working. How do you plan on collaborating with your team members, delivering this work to people? So these are some of the things you are going to be learning from our community. Like something I teach my students when the time comes. I don't teach you to entirely leave what you're already doing. For instance, I have lawyers in my community as my students. I don't train them to stop being a lawyer. I train you how to become a virtual assistant in a legal firm, like we call them paralegal VAs. So a lawyer or a law firm that is looking to hire a virtual assistant will not just hire a random person that can do the job when they have a lawyer who is interested in doing the job. The same thing with those in the health sector. I don't train you to leave your certificate as a nurse, but there's what we call telehealth. So you can still be working as a nurse, but this time virtually. So you that is a data analyst, you are not going to entirely leave your data analytics or science entirely. You grab as much as you can from our training and use it to enhance what you already do. That way you can also reduce the competition for you. Do you understand the point? You can now be, for instance, I work in an A and B testing, and one thing that stood me out is the fact that I understand how Google Analytics work, how marketers or SEOs can use that. I'm not a marketer, but I understand how this works, and that helped me when I was, when I applied for this job. Now, as a data analyst, you can be applying for a virtual assistant role, for example, and when you read virtual assistant, it's just a name tag. A data scientist can be a virtual assistant. a lawyer can be a virtual assistant, a DevOps engineer, anybody can be a virtual assistant, because it simply means that you are supporting somebody virtually. Now, what determines what you are going to be doing is what that role or whoever you are supporting, what they ask you to do. So now I may be applying for a virtual assistant, and when you read the job description, you'll be seeing things like being able to analyze this data to help us make a business decision, being able to do this, being able to do that, meaning that they need a virtual assistant who wears a data analytics regalia. Do you understand the point? So you don't need to
Yeah.
change or move entirely. And on Upwork, LinkedIn, you can still answer your virtual, what is it called, data analysis slash. You can do your pipe. Then you add any other, maybe virtual assistant. Then in that case, you can also niche down. But when your class just started, as the class is ongoing, you'll be able to put the piece together and be able to, okay, this is what I want to do. But the whole idea is that at the end of the training, you should be able to even get a job with your data analytics skills based on what you're also going to learn in our community. So punish you, and you also learn how to sell yourself, because the problem sometimes is that you have all these skills, but can you sell yourself? That's the problem. So you may have the whole skills in the world, but if you don't know how to sell yourself, nobody's going to buy you. Because when you gather skills, you become a product, and if you become a product, you need to be able to sell yourself to a hiring manager. Nobody wants to hire you because you told the person you have these skills. No, they want to see the skills you have and how the skills can help them solve a problem or drive success to their company. So you have to tell them how you are going to do that, what you are bringing to the table. So these are some of the things you also learn.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
This is I just want to say this is outside tech, right? Okay, it might actually apply to tech, I don't know, but Virginia Eze, I'm speaking now from the media point of view. Immediately your voice came into this conversation, it came with something. You have a unique voice. You have a voice that people should hear often. I don't know how you're going to apply it, but if you have any desire to do anything that has to do with speaking, go ahead and develop yourself very, very, very well, because you have the voice, which is the most important when it comes to speaking. It gets attention. Your voice is refined naturally. Your voice is good. If I'm to edit your voice and work with it, I'm not trying to get you excited. I'm just trying to show you something you may not have noticed if nobody has told you before. If I'm to edit your voice right now, what I'm going to be hearing in my headphone will be much better than what I hear from most other voices, because yours is already enabled differently. I just wanted you to know that, so that if any opportunity comes up tomorrow that has to do with speaking or training on speaking, you might want to give it attention. You might want to give it serious go. Yeah. I think we have to start rounding up now. There's someone that came up here, but I can't find him anymore. Something Ade. Can't find him anymore. He left. Okay, let's round up by going deeper into the digital witch community. Please tell us more about digital witch community. How does one join? What does it take? How sell it to us. Let me just leave you to do that thing that you know how to do very, very well. Sell it to us. Show us how we can be part of this. How often do you do this? If I miss the one that is already running now, when does the next one come? Do you have the different courses you have? Which one goes for what, and when does that one come, and when does the other one come, and all that, and how long does it take? And even money too.
Okay, so basically we have, like I said, we have 3 different courses, because the IT support, which is the one that started today, have different skills under it. That is the one I mentioned. I mentioned virtual assistant, customer support, tech support, A&B, and itinerary management, and so on and so forth. That one is 25K, and it's it's 2 months. Previously it used to be monthly, but somehow, like I said, I added a lot of content, and 1 month is no longer enough, so I merged 2 months together. So the one that started today is October and November together, and this is going to be our last section for this year. We are no longer accepting registration, because we have taken the limits we need for this set. even though the class started today. So we have gotten the limit. We take phase 6 section, and but then registration have started for the one starting January. So anybody interested in joining the one that is starting in January, you can register now to secure a space, because if you don't register now to secure a space, maybe when you're already like people that want to join this one now that cannot be able to join because there's no space and they have to wait for January. So you can register now, secure a space, and wait until January 4th. Then that class will start. Then this is for those that want to start from the beginning, basic. Then if you want to, you're already in the IT world and you want to do something more advanced that will put you out there, then you can decide to go for cloud computing. Under cloud computing, we are going to be learning DevOps, you are going to be learning cloud security and networking, you are going to be learning cloud architecture, you're going to be learning SOC, and you're also going to be learning sysadmins. And this one is for 4 to 5 months, and you also get to build real-time projects. So 4 different type of real-time projects that you're going to build, and you also get to write your professional certificate. Mind you, we are not paying for a professional certificate because the professional certificate is even more than what we charge. So, but we guide you on how to get it at a discounted rate, because we buy the voucher. We help, like, not like we buy the voucher. We are partnering with a body that gets bulk voucher. Like, is it voucher? They get the voucher in bulk, and when our students are interested, we gather them together and they buy from those guys. Those guys are like third party partners, and they sell the voucher at a subsidized rate to us. Then our teachers will now prepare you guys, those that register for the certification, they prep you guys to take this exam when you are ready. Then now the cost for the training is 150K. But now the class starts, next class starts January, last Saturday of January. That is when the next class will be starting. Then the price is 150K, but for now I'm charging them 100K. But they told me, due to the fact that they added extra skills to what they are training, they said that what I'm charging is very poor, so they are looking at increasing it to 150K. But we have not finalized yet. But I'm still connecting 100K for people. But when they come back to me and say that they can no longer teach my students for 100K, then we know what to do about it. But for now, I'm still charging 100K for that. Then I have a trainer who teaches us project management and business analysis. He's actually based in the UK. He's also a trainer in the UK, and he has been training my students since 2021. That has been training us, and one of my highest earning students also is part of his training and all of that. Like, the girl graduated from his training, and since then she's in university. She's still in university. I'm not sure if Mendra have graduated, but this guy made over 70K on Upwork, for like 70K on Upwork. So she's doing so well. So that one is 70K. So the man teaches us both courses, 70K. So with the 70K, you are going to be taking both business analysis and project management. However, during because you also offer you internship, 3-month internship at the end of the training. So during the project period and internship, you are now going to focus on your niche, meaning that if you're interested in business analysis, you are going to be doing your internship on business analysis. If then you collaborate with those working or doing their internship as project managers. So that this is how we will be running it. So, but if you don't have any IT skill, please, you need to start from the basic, which is the IT support. And after IT support and you want to advance, then you can now go for either cloud computing or project management and BA.
That's elaborate. What's the point of contact?
The point of contact is we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn, and I'm here. Just that since recently this year that my account has been going up and down. I've been taking down especially my Facebook account a lot, and this kind of affected the way I use social media. Like, I lost a lot of interest in my social that feeling of building after building, it will be taken down. So it kind of affected me. So I'm not too active here like that I used to be before. But You can check us on LinkedIn, Digital Witch Community, on Facebook, Digital IT Support Community. IT Support Community is on Facebook. Then my own name on Facebook is Equitosi Adansuka. So you can reach out to me, my DM, or you can check the number on our Facebook page, that is IT Support, Digital Witch IT Support on Facebook, and you chat the number on the page and you get all the directives you need.
That's beautiful. All right. Okay. Maybe we should just have you give us your last take, if you want to. What would you tell everybody listening to you right now before you leave us? I hope we can have you once again at some point, maybe later. I don't know, because I know you have a very busy schedule. But what would be your last advice or your last tip for tonight?
Okay, so my advice is that if you are not already learning, please, it doesn't have, to be realistic, I tell people, when you want to learn, it doesn't have to be IT actually. Just get a skill. It could be any skill. I once made a post that tailoring is not the new oil money. Just get a skill. So if you currently do not have a skill in this T-baby regime, I keep asking, how are you surviving? So get a skill. If you're already learning any tech skills or any skill at all, please be consistent. Don't jump from A to B or C. No IT skills pays more. That mindset is what you don't need. I tell people I'm a customer success manager, but I earn more than my friend that is a developer. In fact, I earn 3 times what my developer friend is earning. And maybe someone will see me as a customer success manager wants to look down on me, but I don't care as long as I'm making my dough. The same thing happens to my students who are virtual assistants. People say, you're just a virtual assistant, but you know how much these guys are making. So don't jump from here to here and there. Be consistent at whatever you're doing and try to be an authority. Try to know it, know the in and out, know even the secret that people normally who are in that area wouldn't want to know, or they don't even care to know. Know it in such a way that when somebody asks you question about that particular role, you will provide the answers as if you're a pro, or just become a pro. Know it so deeply that even when somebody wake you up in the sleep, you can sell yourself in that particular niche you are picking. And don't always be too quick to start seeing the results. The truth is that the results will actually come at the right time. You jumping from 1, 2, 3 may not bring that result you expect, but you being consistent at whatever you're doing will probably, get you to that point. But you have to consistently do something. Then again, for those that doesn't have money, you can always start with free platform, YouTube, other places. Just first of all, learn how to research. Some of you don't even know how to research. Simple things you can get on Google. You want somebody to help you, want somebody to tell you how to get them. Learn how to research and understand your wants. What do you need? Which skills interest you first? These are the things you need to figure out before you be planning to learn. When you figure out the skills that interest you, then you can now think about investing in yourself. It could be your time. Then don't also wait for laptop. Laptop is not cheap. Laptop is so expensive at the moment. The laptop, my first laptop is still here with me. I bought it for 260k. The same laptop is going for almost 800 and something k at the moment. And it's just 2 years difference. So laptop is not cheap. Don't allow not having a laptop to stop you from starting. When you want people to help you, people would also want to help you, but they want to see what you are able to achieve with the little you have. So start with your phone and show results. As soon as you start showing results, people feel pity your conditions. More like, if she can do this with her phone, that means she will do more with a laptop, and somebody will be touched to give to you a laptop. So just start with what you have. You don't need to figure everything out. You don't even need to know why you are taking the skills. Just start first. As time goes on, you get the clarity you need, and every other thing will become soft. So thank you guys for having me.
I like how you.
This is like my second session for today.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot of energy. I like how you ended it, and everything will become soft.
Yeah, that's it.
At the
Makes
end
it
of the
soft.
at the end of the day, money makes it soft. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the knowledge. Thank you for being willing to share your experience. And also thank you for pouring out your heart. It's one thing to
Mm.
teach people, it's another thing to bring it all out, like without restraining, without withholding anything. It's obvious that you just want to keep giving and giving and giving. And that's what makes you special. That's what makes you the digital witch. We appreciate you. We love you. We also believe that this
Thank
is
you.
just, yes, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. There is a lot because I mean, this is the knowledge economy, and the knowledge economy is just starting. I don't think it has even gone halfway. So what you're doing might turn into something like is a real school, like a big, massive online school, like some of the online schools we know already. I don't know.
Amen.
I don't know, but it comes from, yeah,
Amen.
yeah, it's very possible. I mean, everything is there for you. You have the structure already. You're putting it together. Your model is working. You have results. People believe in you. I can see your army. I can see your people in your community all over the comment section. That shows that you already have a strong following of people who are their lives are changing, and that's what matters. It's not just for people to have followers. It's to be able to change the lives of the people that are following you. You have become an example, actually, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to have you here, so we can show people, show other young Umuibo and in Nigeria, that there are things that are possible in spite of the hardship, in spite of the difficulties in Nigeria, in spite of all the Nigerian factors, those things that people complain about, all those excuses, all the odds against all the odds. And that was why I started with you by asking you about your story, because that's where the real juice comes from. What people get to hear, that this didn't just start from nothing. It didn't start from easy life. It started from nothing. It wasn't something you just grabbed, like you grab an orange from a tree. No, you actually had to work very hard, to the point that you had to pray that kind of prayer that you made about your mom. That's amazing, and that's super inspiring. Let's just hear from our co-hosts, and then we can round up and go.
Let me comment. The conversation starter. I think honestly, everyone was able to take something tangible. Equitos na ineku no ku. You equitos you don't know. You No, I
No.
had to go there. You've said a lot. You know what's interesting? We came into, and again, just before I say that, Mona Chika, we connect from time to time, and even all of the other hosts, and we talk about topics and things that people can actually benefit from, especially in the buying. And Chika and I, we had the conversation. Things are difficult in Nigeria now. People are going through a lot. How can we have conversations that will help people, for them to be able to learn one or two skills that will profit them in one or two ways, to be able to help, the situation of things in Nigeria. And that's how it came about. And we started thinking of some of our ideas, and, it gave birth to this idea. But the point, Bona, I personally came into this conversation saying, I know you have a business. I want you to have that opportunity to, educate people, and hopefully a lot of people will be able to see the value in what you do and sign up for your business. But I also want an opportunity for people to feel like they can do a lot themselves and learn and just go on that self journey to actualize whatever they want. But now I'm coming out of the conversation thinking, you know what? Nobody needs to. Everybody just go and register for Equitos quickly. Just that's my mindset. So you've sold me, and I'm one of the most difficult people to sell things to. But the idea, Bona, I now believe that someone who goes through your program will be able to come out having the same mindset, because it's more than just skill. It's mindset, and that's what people don't get. It's mindset. It's the way you think. Whether they say your perception, your belief, whether the cup is half empty or half full, it's perception. And you speak up, you're very optimistic. Like you always see things from the bright side. No, it's possible, it's doable. That's the mindset. It's the motivation most times you need to be able to climb to that next step. And you exemplify that. As a matter of fact, you've shown a lot of that tonight. So thank you. And to everyone that participated, that had the opportunity to speak, I thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. For those who didn't speak, next week will be another opportunity. We have conversations like this on different subjects, different industries, different challenges, indeed, our people we have. And the idea is that we want to create a better life for our people. It's as simple as that. How can we improve people's lives? By having meaningful conversations. So if you want to always be a part of this, follow Kunie Media, follow the media, follow each and every one of us on the space. We'll follow you back as much as you can. Let's create, an environment where we're always sharing these ideas on a weekly basis. So please follow Kunie Media. Let's have these conversations. All the important, it's beneficial. And again, I hope you all took something out of this. If you didn't, maybe next week, or maybe, everyone's brain is different. Next week, you might have an opportunity to take something. But again, Dalo, I really enjoyed today's episode and the conversation. Ekwi, Dalo, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, everyone. I'm so sorry. I don't talk too much. It's just only when I'm teaching on things like this. Outside here, I'm a very quiet person. Before, I would say I'd be talkative. Please, understand that.
Priscilla, you cannot hear.
Anomia.
Yeah, you.
Sadly, I couldn't hear a word Casey said. Platform Elon Musk kunwa. A remorse. Kogini kana be. So thank you so much everyone for being a part of this and staying to the end. And to our guest who has been very generous with sharing tips, sharing information, and sharing her platform. Thank you very much for honoring our invite. And of course, Chuka, amazing work as usual. Thank you for everything you do. But that being said, Mobruno, if there's no talk you take back, to ponder, is the fact that there's no skill that is more important than the other. The best thing to do is to self-reflect, find those skills or discover yourself more to ensure that you find skills that align with your core so that it doesn't look like you're working and it doesn't look like you are playing. It's similar, something you can do in your sleep, because irrespective of, I know that yes, there are maybe top most wanted jobs and all. Yes, we know that, but you see, it's better you're very strong in a particular skill set than you are average or mediocre in a world-class job, in my own opinion, though, because you may not last that long, or you may not get enough reputation to get to the top. Of course, if you are someone that is particular about achievements and all, but irrespective, do what's good for you, find what aligns to your core and learn it so well that you can, you are a star in it, and you can be recommended for a lot of things. And with all that, we are rooting for you as young Nigerians, or as middle class Nigerians, or as middle-aged Nigerians. We are rooting for you. I'm rooting for me as well. And we're hoping that together I get, Mezi Obudanyi first by imezi our economy, our personal economy, and we all achieve success at the end of the day. Whatever you're doing, please don't forget personal improvement is very key. Soft skills, hard skills, whatever you need to do to meet the world. Right now, thanks to the internet, you now have a global economy to tap into. Okay, so please don't forget to tap into that global economy. And again, we are rooting for you. Once again, my name is Priscilla Amadi, your service culture evangelist and your co-host on the Kunie the MONI show. We're looking forward to always having you here. Same time, same space, same account. We're looking forward to having you. Follow Kunie Media now so that you get notified when we are going live next Saturday. You don't know what topic we'll be having, but during the week, we'll let you know. Looking forward to having you back here again on Saturday, and let's have amazing conversations. Thank you, and that's all from me. Good night. And thank you, my co-host, Casey. I didn't hear you most of the time, and I'll most likely not hear you if you comment, but thank you anyways. Kunye, over to you, Chuka.
Okay, Melo. It's been a very empowering conversation on the MONI show. Once again, this is MONI show Maka Odimma Ndibo. It's an acronym. Maka Odimma Ndibo is an Igbo word. What it means in English, actually, for the progress of the Igbos. That's it. That's all we do here. And we have been here over the last 3 hours plus with Equitosi, Cynthia, okay, the digital witch. I have to say it that way because if you listen to her over the last few hours, you can see why we call her the digital witch. She's actually not that kind of witch you shout blood of Jesus for. The real witch that produces stuff, the real witch that makes things happen, And it's been awesome. It's been awesome with her. I appreciate her spirit. Her spirit is so giving. That's what you call the gift that keeps on giving. I would like to plug into that kind of energy because it makes things happen. I really appreciate you. We appreciate you, like you've heard us say. I want to appreciate everyone who shared the space while we were talking. I want to appreciate those who shared the space in the build-up before today and before the hour when we started. You've been part of this. And for those who contributed or those who asked questions, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. To my co-hosts, Casey and Priscilla, thank you very much for doing what you do best. And to those who have been helping us also from other angles, tech and everything else we do that doesn't show here, we really, really, really appreciate you. It's been a ride, quite a ride actually. This is our 29th episode. The next one is going to be the bomb. I can't talk about what it's going to be, just like I didn't tell you what this was going to be, but just expect something very interesting. I like to close in my language because that's what makes me me. That's what makes me Igbo. So, kaisi okwu ebe anụ abụna ọkwa no kaisi wee mekọta ife anyị na-eme now. Ihe ga-decide ka anyị ga-esikwa mee echi. Anọ ife ga-decide ka obodo anyị ga-esi wee dị. Anyị were ife anyị na-amụta ebe a ga tinye ya n'ọrụ. Anyị were ife anyị na-amụta ebe a ga nyelụ ndị ọzọ aka. Inyelụ onye nka, onye nke enyelụ onye nka, onye nke enyelụ onye nka, onye nke enyelụ onye nka. Before you know it, it goes round. The more people are empowered, the less crimes we will have. The more people are empowered, the less of troubles people will be having all over the place. And the more people are empowered, the more beautiful the environment will be. Things will soft, like Epitosi said. Things will be sweeter. That's what knowledge is about, and that's why we do what we do here. But we're going to end it here. It's been long enough and we'll have to go. So till next time, same space and 8 p.m. West African time on the MONI Show. Agazelo no. Good night, everyone.
It's the MONI Show.
Makodim Mandibu.